Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the official coverage of the 2026 Simdy 500, brought to you by GammaFlare, MRP, KSR, Apex Labs, Race M, New Zealand SIMRACING TV, New Zealand SIMRACING Collective, New Zealand Esports, and of course broadcasting you live on Sky 83 Matchfit Entertainment and New Zealand SIMRACING TV today. I'm Davo, and right by my side, my co-commentators for this event today is J-Man and Reese. How are you doing, boys?
Good evening, Davo. Good evening, or good afternoon, actually, for that matter. It's good evening. Reese, how are we, guys?
Doing well. It is morning for me. I'm about as far away from New Zealand as you can get while still being within the general sphere. I am in Western Australia, but I'm a big fan of the New Zealand sim racing scene. Been involved with it for a few years now, and yeah, I'm looking forward to a fantastic 500-mile race at Indianapolis with some of Australia and New Zealand's best virtual Indycar drivers.
Yeah, too right. No, this one is going to be nothing short of spectacular, and it's going to be a good ride, and it is a duration, Reese and Davo. We are definitely going to be here for a while, so get comfy. And you know, this one here, obviously a lot to delve through over the next coming while, just based on the fact that the qualifying, guys, it's been said and done. You know, it's a week-long procession. There's a lot that's gone into this here, getting the drivers to this moment for that fact.
Yeah, look, I think it was 5 qualifying sessions across the week there, J-Man, culminating last night with the fast to final qualifying, just only last night. So, and I think we've got the graphic up on screen there. You can actually see the top 30 odd cars or drivers, should I say, there on screen at the moment.
Yeah, look, I might look to Reese there to unpack that fast 12 and potential, just what that looked like. Reese with, you know, obviously Anna kind of going in pretty hot, pretty fast, and then backing it up with the fast 12. And obviously an LCQ to consider as I just do a quick audio check. Guys, back in a second.
Yes, indeed. So essentially the lead up to this event, yes, we have had 5 nights of qualifying, and the top 30 are in no matter what. Then there was a fast 12, one-off session, so the top 12 drivers of that top 30 get to go out again and set a new time. It's basically like the top 10 shootout at Bathurst, essentially. But,
Yeah.
Instead of one single lap, you're going for 4 timed laps in a row, and the total time for those 4 laps, the average speed, determines your final starting spot. And so Anna Kalemic, she didn't top the normal qualifying, but she did top the fast 12. And a one-off final attempt to make the grid from cars outside the top 30. Anyone outside the top 30 could do it. But there were only 5 more spots available, grid spots 31 to 36. And so we will have a total of 36 starters for today's race. Still a bit up in the air as to who exactly has the pace to win today, but anything can happen at Indy, and I'm sure we'll be surprised many times.
It's true that. Anything could happen. Yeah, and a long race. Expect to see, maybe some cautions. I think we're going to see the safety car more than once here today, with, I think, a few of the drivers probably a little bit new to Indycars. So a lot of, you know, a handful of circuit racers jumping in and having a crack at the Simdy 500 today. So, and yeah, vastly different style of driving, isn't it, Reese, to the standard circuit racing that we're used to seeing here in Australia and New Zealand?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's been a couple of changes to talk about regarding the iRacing Indy cars. They are obviously updated more or less in line with the real world car. And recently, just a couple of builds ago, they added the hybrid system that is now present on Indy cars.
Yep.
Now that provides a little bit of an extra element to manage. You know, obviously you have extra power that you can deploy, at least on road courses. How it works on the oval exactly remains to be seen, but it should be very interesting indeed. The cars are heavier than they were, but also a little bit more powerful, about 900 horsepower full chat.
Well, lot at the ready on the right foot there. But hey, look, you know, and with that, Reece, obviously, you know, a few tools for them to work with as well. Obviously, they do have the options around. Is it the jackers and so to speak? There's a little bit involved in these super speedway machinery.
Yes, so I'm drawing on the experience of my good mate and a man that I work with a lot, Scott Rankin, who's one of the biggest IndyCar fans on the planet. Essentially, the weight jacker determines whether you are going to be oversteering into the corner or out of it. You're essentially controlling when the car gets loose. And I would think that early on you're wanting to look after those front tires depending on the track temperature. You can adjust it a little bit further to induce a little bit more rotation on the way through the corners. That will help you when the car is heavy, filled up with fuel. But towards the end of a stint, things may get a little bit more complicated. In fact, I'll check the track temperature now, and we'll see what the drivers have got to deal with. It's beautiful conditions at the moment. 25 degrees Celsius on the virtual asphalt. So the drivers shouldn't have to worry too much about the tyres overheating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did see the weather looked really good. The conditions really set up for the drivers here today. And with that, just to delve back a little bit further into that, Reece, you know, the critical parts around that jacker and the balance of the car you talked about, you know, on the long green runs that we may see here today, about just maintaining the balance of the car throughout that stint, you know, maybe taking a little bit away from the front early. You know, the car may be not quite in the sweet spot filled up, but maybe we might see them coming back further through the stint as the car burns the fuel off, and they find that balance with those jackers, and in particular the way that they prepare these cars.
And they also have the option to change anti-roll bar strength on the front and rear on the fly in these cars. Not to mention brake bias, but on a track like this, you don't need to use the brakes that much, if at all. It's really just lifting through the corners. The only time you have to worry about the brake balance is on the way into the pits, and well, it takes a really long time to slow down from these speeds. These cars are running the most trimmed out downforce package that the IndyCar has available. Top speeds approaching something like 230 miles per hour, around about 370 kilometers per hour is the kinds of speeds that you can be expecting here. And I think they're reaching that in practice now.
Yeah, so the likelihood that they're looking to turn down into pit lane is likely north of 350k an hour, right? So a lot to consider at that critical time of stopping.
Absolutely. When they reach the midpoint of the straights here, they're at 340. Keeping an eye on drivers going past pit exit, yeah, about 350, 360 before they get fully out of turn 4. So if you're going to be making a green flag pit stop, you really have to worry about slowing down properly. But there is always the option for cautions throughout the race, and that can affect the strategy somewhat as well.
And so obviously all that said, that sounds fantastic and perfect scenario where the car's good, it's clean. Obviously throw 36 cars in the mix, guys, and you know, some dirty hot air, maybe overheating the fronts, and then potential front wing damage if there's a marginal little bit of contact. I can imagine these cars are very sensitive to that, and that could certainly alter what your strategy is. Because I mean, coming into this today, I mean, you know, this event under you know, the current format and with KSR is steeped in history. It has a huge background. You know, we talked about the new drivers that have turned up today. However, there are some previous champions in this field. There is a lot of racing IQ out there. So, you know, what does that look like, you know, as far as these guys running to a strategy and then it gets altered through traffic? You know, like, you know, do we think already, guys, that we're going to see multiple strategies around this? But obviously with a high chance that most of the laps are going to be in that sort of 39, 40-second bracket, you know, you don't want to come off the lead lap too early, do you?
No, absolutely not. So essentially, the strategy is going to be defined by how long you can go on a fuel tank. And in the IndyCar, usually stint lengths run about 28 to 30 laps, depending on how much you're saving fuel. The drivers, of course, can change the engine map in car so that they use less fuel in the slipstream. So they can extend their stint from that. If you're able to eke out a little bit more fuel, you can pit a bit later than everyone else. You can set yourself up for a shorter stint towards the end.
Yeah, right. And so back to Davo on the cams tonight, and got our all the beautiful pictures going live, and I will just check in with our Sky 83 Phase T viewers. Once again, welcome aboard to your tuning in live here this afternoon, or this morning in Reese's case. Hope you enjoy the coverage. We obviously are in the practice session, winding down. Just under 20 minutes left to run in this one, but everything looks good your end, guys. I hope you enjoy the show, and look, 3 guys up here in the booth tonight should be able to catch a lot of the action going on there, and yeah, let's hope for some long green running.
Absolutely, J-Man. 100%. Look, it is Indy, mind you, so we do expect some cautions, as we just see somebody doing themselves a little mischief there on the back straight. But yeah, plenty of racing to come, ladies and gentlemen. So buckle up, get comfortable. Go and get your favourite beverage and some snacks. Yeah, plenty of racing. We are just going to quickly thank, obviously, all of our viewers, but our sponsors, GammaFlare, primary sponsor for the day here, for the 7500, but also MRP, KSR, Apex Labs, Race M, New Zealand SIMRACING TV, and New Zealand SIMRACING Collective, obviously, SIMRACING, New Zealand Esports, as always, and broadcast to you live, ladies and gentlemen, on Sky 83 Face TV, on the Matchfit Entertainment, and also over at SIMRACING. Thank you all of the viewers tuning in for what is going to be an amazing race here. There's a little bit of a breakdown on the Indy event and track. There you go, steeped in history. I think, what is it, it's nearly 100 years old there.
Over 100 years.
Over 100 years old. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, a little over 4Ks. Well, in the metric, 4Ks, 4 corners, and 2 great straights, and plenty of action to come. We have been through what has already unfolded to qualifying this week. Top 30 is set. I think, what did you say? Rex? I think we got 36 on track, or well, qualified to race today. And
yes.
And we currently see 30, over 30 on track now. So, awesome.
Yes, it looks like we might be missing one driver. Of course, the race steward and race control guys are in the sim in their own cars, so they're not spectating the race like we are. They are in as drivers, just so that they can get a little bit more of a live update on what is going on out on track, which will help in their decision making and running of the race. There's currently 36 cars on the server, including our 2 race organizer cars. So that's 34 drivers in the sim at the moment. We are missing 1.
So good, solid field. That's what that tells me, Reese. And yeah, this is going to be exciting stuff. We love it when we get a packed field of cars here. Everyone turning up for this one today, and a fairly stacked field. There's a few names out there that are that are pretty handy behind the wheels in these things.
Yeah, and hey, look, let's just a little bit of housekeeping for what we can expect prior to the start of this race. Just unpacking some of the formalities around. Obviously, it's a rolling start, Reese, and feel free to chime in here. We do have a rolling start naturally. It'd be quite tricky to get one of these things stationary off the line, I'm sure. And then I think we have got one fast repair available for these guys in this race. So obviously, hopefully, not too many requiring that. And also, just want to touch on the restarts, Reese. Obviously, single file to what that may look like. Because I think we will see a few of those.
Oh yeah, we absolutely will. The real world Indy 500 has a 3-wide rolling start. That is not possible in the sim when you're running to the automated oval racing rule set like we're doing here today. So it'll be a 2-wide initial race start, single file restarts, as you say.
Yep.
And it's not just the fuel that the drivers have to worry about either. They have a limited amount of tyres they can use, a maximum of 10 tyre sets over the course of the whole race. So the drivers do need to be very careful about when they come into the pits, how long their tyres have to last. With about 28 to 30 laps per stint, you're expecting around about 12 or something full stints for the 500 miles. So there's going to be a couple of those stints where you're going to have to keep the tyres on the car. And I think at some point you'll have to be hoping for a caution just so that you can cool the tyres down and save them for another run.
Yeah, too true. And like obviously, Reese, Dave and myself, not really familiar with the Indycars at this point. I'm sure we're going to be a lot more scholar by the end of this one. But is it common practice to do the right-hand side tyres on these only? Would that be something that would be pretty standard, maybe between stops?
Yeah, that is something that I think I have seen in the past, but it's not ideal. Indianapolis, looks like a really simple circuit from the air, but it's far from it. 9 degrees of banking in the corners, as we saw on that info screen, which basically means it's actually quite a flat oval compared to some of the other ovals. Say, like, it's definitely not as high banked as, say, Daytona or Talladega, for example. So there is a lot more work that the tires are doing through these corners, and especially in the slipstream where you have the aero wash, the disturbance of the air going over the car, inducing understeer and general instability. That's going to work the tires even harder as well. So to put the fine point on it, I would expect all 4 tyres to be changed at any pit stop where a tyre change is deemed necessary. But I think the drivers are going to be very tentative on whether they burn through all of their sets.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting step too. So like you say, that those inside tyres are actually doing a fair amount of work, and I could imagine that setup-wise, obviously the camber would be quite different from the left-hand set to the front, right, and so to speak. And then we talked about the weight jacker as well, having an impact on that, and just allowing that tyre to hook. We'll see the cars running very, very low down to the line through all 4 turns here. Well, certainly 3 of them anyway, Reese, so that would have a big impact.
Yeah, absolutely. We're following along with Julian Kleinbussink, one of the only drivers racing under an international flag today. We've got a very good mix of Aussies and Kiwis racing in this one. Ewan Baker, originally from Scotland, but lives in New Zealand now, and Julian Klobuchar racing under the flag of the Netherlands. So we've got a very varied field, a very talented field for sure. We've got plenty of drivers that I recognize from my past exploits in the NZ sim racing sphere and also in the Australian scene as well. Drivers like Cameron Dance and Daniel Stevens, I'm certainly well familiar with. Anna Klemick, I've seen her put on some great drives in the NZ86 E Cup. There's also Robert Northwaite in the midst of this as well. He's quite a good driver on ovals and in Indycars in particular. Yeah, just generally, it's a super strong field that we've got.
Yeah, noticed. Yeah, did call a couple of previous winners in there, Reece. So, like you said, depth of experience throughout the field, and I think that sort of stuff lends to show itself the later we get on into this race. I think the experience, bar any unfortunate mishaps, will certainly see the cream rise to the top. However, I think based on the qualifying format, we are going to see the best of the best lead the way out here very, very shortly.
Yes. Also worth noting, age is only a number. There's several drivers in the field over the age of 50, including Dan Stevens, Anthony Green, Martin Waugh, Ben Wood, and Heath Mannering. They are well seasoned, and they certainly don't lose any of their speed as they get on.
No.
It'll be very interesting to see what they can do amongst the young'uns.
Well seasoned, very polite of you, Reece.
Plenty of salt and pepper.
Be over 50 myself, so very nice.
I was just leaning towards the comms box there, thinking, guys, there might be hope for us yet. I'm starting to feel some of those effects myself. I am 32 now, but yes, still got a bit of a ways to go before I get up to that level. But yeah, I don't know. I sneezed the other day while I was turning around and almost put my back out. So yeah, I think I'm almost joining the club.
Look, and at 32, you've still got plenty of sim racing in you yet. That's what you're telling me. So.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, look, those names, to quote a few, definitely very impressive. As the drivers at the moment, guys, as you're well aware, up here in the comms box, and just to let the viewers know, they are basically sitting through a driver briefing session at the moment. So lots of laws being laid down and expectancies, and look, these guys predominantly throughout the field know the deal. And we're all here for enjoyment, and we wish them the absolute level best and hold the fun throughout the next 4 hours. Yeah, I'm sure they will conduct themselves to the utmost. Just looking at those times, Davo, 38.674.
Yeah,
that is a mega number.
it is, isn't it? Isn't it what?
Yeah, Ethan Holland setting that time, the fastest driver in warm-up for the moment, and that would have been with a mega draft. He had probably drafted off a couple of cars on the way around that lap. Usually, I think we'll be expecting times in the mid-39s, because when you're getting into the rhythm of the race, especially when everyone's close together off the start and off a restart, drivers won't be slingshotting and slipstreaming past each other all the time into every single corner. It's a long race. You got to look after the car. You got to look after yourself as well. So I think a lot of drivers, they'll be trying to judge when to make these passes. It won't happen right away. Most of the time they'll be lifting into the corners, which is going to bring those lap times back up slightly. So while that is excellent pace from Ethan Holland, I don't know if we're going to be seeing too much of that in the race, at least not before the final few laps when they really get the gloves off.
Yeah, I agree totally. And obviously the long runs, it's going to be interesting to see how they play that as well, Reece. Whether the front runners, whether the likes of Mia and Anna and you know, off the front, if they look to dictate the pace early and what that looks like, you know, because I'm sure there's a lot of ambition sitting in behind them, and where we normally would see opportunities on a circuit under some sort of tin top style racing where they can dictate that, I think it may be a little harder here.
Yeah, certainly. The Nzsrc Cup Series has got two previous champions in this field, in Bryce Harding and Luke Dilworth. So they are the ones that are more familiar with the tin top side of oval racing, but very strong indeed. There is a fair amount of crossover between stock car racing and Indycar racing. The cars are incredibly different, though. Of course, stock cars, they're super heavy, full bodywork around the wheels, and they've got the engine in the front of the car. Indycar is a little bit different, much lighter, open wheel. The engine is behind the driver, so there is some extra considerations to make concerning car balance and what the car can really handle through the corners. It'll be interesting to see how Bryce and Luke adapt.
Yeah, and obviously good to have that experience though, Reese, in the I guess in the oval part of that dynamic. You know, all goes towards spatial awareness and proximity with the bigger fields running in this sort of environment, albeit very, very different race car.
Yeah, very different indeed. Just a few minutes remaining in the warm-up session. We've gotten some extra reminders from drivers and race control in the InSim text chat. Corey Crossan confirming that it will be race over if you tow and have no fast repair in hand. The drivers, of course, will, if you're not familiar with how the fast repair works in iRacing, dear viewers, you can set up at least one fast repair when you're setting up a server for a hosted race like this. That will allow you to basically get a fresh car instantly when you pull into your pit box. You can turn the option to take that on or off in your black boxes that you have next to you. And I think in the early stages, you definitely want to leave that fast repair box unticked, because you don't want to waste the fast repair early on when you don't need it. It's really for those kinds of situations where you get damage and you need to resurrect your race, and regular repairs will take too long.
So just for the viewers, Reese, you want to just maybe highlight what that looks like in comparison to, you know, conventionally what they normally see. So would that be on the back of a tow, or would that be then literally, you know, if they can't drive it back down pit road, that's their one option, yeah?
Yeah, both. It can be used in any of those circumstances. Yep. I think most drivers who save their fast repair to the very end, they'll take it at their final pit stop just to make sure that the car is fully refreshed for their final stint.
Yeah, beautiful. Well explained, and puts a bit of clarity on what these guys are dealing with. You know, when we look at that 2.5 mile, 4Ks, roundabouts, 200 miles, it's a big duration to look after the equipment. And the equipment, I believe, in these situations is very, very fragile. You know, like you mentioned, there is no armor around the wheels, or, you know, how sensitive the wings are on these things. So management will be key here, you know, literally staying out of trouble, staying in touch, keeping that car healthy, obviously with that opportunity on that final stop to check on home for the final, you know, in a perfect world, 28 to 30 laps, Reese, and run this thing home in good condition.
Yeah, that's the big challenge, is actually getting there in the first place. The aggression will be high amongst the drivers. Everyone wants to win this. It's the first time that this event has been run as an NZ national sim racing event. It's been run since 2008, started by Kiwi Sim Racing as a community-led event. KSR handing things over to the NZ Sim Racing Collective for 2026 to run this as a proper national level event for the first time. That's just going to bring the intensity up even further.
Yeah, and a bit at stake as well. Some treats on offer for the drivers out there. And look, not just through successes. Obviously, there's a few things going on today. Obviously, there is a Best, I think it was there a livery competition going on, voted by the viewers, I think also as well, and maybe a bit of a hard luck prize as well. So lots going on in behind the scenes. I think the team have done a fantastic job to construct this event, and obviously, like you just mentioned, 2008, they're well experienced at getting these things off the ground, and we do feel blessed to be a part of it for 2026, and also having you on board as well, Reese. It's an absolute pleasure.
I appreciate it. Happy to be a part of it. Just a quick breakdown as the warm-up session is over. First overall prize, the winner will get a $250 sim racing voucher, first place trophy, and the Simdy 500 event medal. Second overall prize, you get a trophy and a Kiwi sim racing merch pack, plus a Simdy 500 event medal. Third overall prize, you get third place trophy, Kiwi Sim Racing commemorative coin, and a Simdy 500 event medal. You also get the event medal if you finish from 4th through to 10th. Here we go then. It's time to get onto the grid. And Anna Klemek topping the Fast 12 session. She is going to start on the front row alongside Mia Rose. The girls have locked out the front row. Ewan Baker is going to start in third spot alongside Dan Stevens. And then we have Bryce Harding and Robert Northway on row number 3. Luke Dilworth and Logan Howard in 7th and 8th. The top 10 rounded out by Billy Rowley and Brad Wiggins. Just outside that, Julian Kleinbersink and Ethan Kale rounding out your Fast 12. Then Heath Mannering and Corey Croson on row number 7. Cam James, Matthew Stables, they are your 8th row of the grid in 15th and 16th. Xavier Simmons and Martin Waugh, 17th and 18th. Cameron Dance, starting a bit lower down the field than I expected. He's going to be rounding out the top 20 with Hadley Boyce. Then it's Brendan Partridge and Matt Priest in 21st and 22nd. We have Luke Robb and Marcus Walker on row number 12. Anthony Green and Alex Zekas starting in row number 13. Brent Henderson and Terry Leveridge-Watkins, along with Ethan Holland and Matt Disney to round out our top 30 drivers. Then Ben Wood, Matt Town, Carl Matthews and Daniel Johnstone making it in from the last chance qualifier earlier in the week. They are rolling away on the formation lap. They'll be in the lowest fuel map here on this formation lap. They'll definitely be wanting to extend this first stint as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, well done, well said. And Davo, looking forward to this one, guys. This is going to be big. You can see them under full control, like Reese mentioned, dual file on this first start. Everything, any time after this fact, will be a single file, but here we go.
It's ready to get the gloves on. We are about to go green, under control of the safety car as we speak. Thank you, Reese, for running through the grid there for our fine viewers joining us today on Sky 83, Face TV, Matchfit Entertainment and SimRacing, New Zealand SimRacing TV. Safety car into the pit lane. We're about to go green any minute. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The girls off immediately. And with a great jump from the rest of the field there.
Caution's out already.
Got a caution.
Yellow flag, yellow flag.
Yeah, a little bit of a gap back to Harding, Dilworth, Howard and Rowley, but we have a yellow flag already.
And it looks like it was contact between Cameron Dance and Xavier Simmons. The Logitech G-Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport number 6, potentially going for a slightly optimistic move into the first turn, or Cam, I think, would argue that Simmons turned down on him. It only took until turn 1 to see an incident.
And the car literally right over the top, guys.
It was big.
Absolutely written off. And fortunately, not too many other drivers caught up in that. Maybe one or two just tagged a little bit of that in there. So race control already at the busy, guys.
Anthony Green, an innocent victim in all of that,
Yep.
as Xavier Simmons was coming back down the track at high speed. green was too wide with Luke Robb. So unfortunately, there's been some damage for the number 39 as well.
Yeah, we just pick it up on the replay of Rob and Green there. And like you said, they were sort of just in the wrong place at the wrong time there. But those cars locked together, Reese. So,
wow.
Interesting situation for those boys.
It looks like there's going to be a couple using their fast repairs into the pit lane this time.
As we see the race, like you said, literally T1, we expected some action. We probably didn't expect it so quickly, but we did expect an early caution in the race. As look, just everybody just settles in, you know, and the nerves and the jitters settle down, but. Yes, that's literally kicked off immediately as we picked up in the replay. Still on yellow at the moment. We'll just pick up on another sneaky little replay of what was going on there. So, yeah.
Got to agree with you there, Reese. I think that, optimistic. It's probably a good way to describe it. I just, it wasn't even a closing gap. I'm not sure that it was ever there. However, like we said, start of a big one, lots of nerves, lots of ambition. And that becomes the result of probably just a little too much enthusiasm too early.
Yes, indeed.
As we just pick up on a bit more vision from another camera angle.
It was big.
That was brutal to watch.
Who was that got down through the middle? Somebody snuck down through the middle. I don't know who that was, but that was a beautiful sight to see them just sneak down between the two cars.
Yeah.
Super lucky.
Yeah. Just saw it on the YouTube feed myself. Very lucky escape indeed.
Yeah, great camera work. Our camera team here, very on point already. Lap one all over it. Sometimes the lap one stuff can go astray because there's so much going on. However, Davo and the directing team are all over that one. And look, let's the girls just reset. Reese, what does this look like? They're counting down the laps as they're running through them, right? So they're literally looking at it going, they've just bought themselves a ticket for another couple of laps. They, like you mentioned on the start formation lap, these things will be well leaned out right now, using the least amount of fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. They're trying to extend this first stint as much as they can here. If there wasn't a caution, you'd expect drivers to go 28 laps at the very least. If you're running full rich at the front of the field, being the one punching the hole in the air for everyone else, you would usually be the one pitting first. But the drivers didn't really get a chance to get that momentum up. So basically this is going to be a reset, making the stint extended by a few laps as a result of these laps under caution. But the lights are off on the pace car, which means we're going to be going green again at the end of this lap.
Too true that the safety car is coming in this lap, and we will get another shot at this one. We'll just fingers crossed we get a little bit further than turn one this time.
I certainly hope so too. Just before we go green, quick little check-in on big gainers in the field. Hard charger at the moment up 7 places is Matt Town, and that's largely due to the raft of pit stops that we saw from Boyce, Leverage Watkins, Anthony Green, and then 4 or 5 cars having to take repairs. But we are putting the power down and going green once more to start the 5th lap.
The yellow flag is out.
Oh, the yellow flag's immediately out again. There's been a crash at the back.
Okay.
No.
Johnston.
No. Johnston and Partridge, I think it is. There, Reese. Immediately coming together.
That is weird. A very weird incident. Looks like there was a pretty major checkup at the back, and Johnston just got run into, unfortunately. Brendan Partridge went right into him. Cameron Dance, I think, would be a good car to go on board with for that replay.
I agree, totally.
So far from ideal. It's been a bit of a slow start to this race. You see how quickly Cameron Dance reacted to this. the contact as Partridge was sent airborne. And some pretty heavy contact. Cameron Dance just zipping off to the left there.
So a bit of frustration building already throughout the field. Obviously privileged to have multiple comms up here in the booth and just listen to everything that's been unpacked at the moment. And look, the good portion of the front of the field and just probably not really complaining at the moment. They're just buying some fuel. They're buying tyre life. However, a little bit of frustration throughout the pack as the guys really want to settle down into their work and just acknowledge that it is a 500. So plenty of time to get the stuff done.
Yes. Cameron Dance has already been involved in one big crash today, and he would have used his fast repair in the process. So he certainly didn't want to get involved with that. Anna Klemic, though, up the front of the field. This is a pretty easy race for us so far. Hasn't had to do much actual racing. So she, Mia Rose, and Ewan Baker running out our top three will continue on. We'll see if anyone decides to come into the pits here. It looks like we have Terry Leveridge-Watkins that has just come into the lane. No surprise to see Brendan Partridge down there as well. He's got some repairs to make from being involved in the incident. But you know, it looks like Dance is coming in as well, just to top up the tank. And that's a reasonable choice to make. You find yourself at the back of the field. Anytime the caution comes out, you come into the pits. Sometimes you come in multiple times during a caution, just to keep that fuel tank brimmed. You want to keep the fuel going as long as possible so that you don't lose as much time in the pits later on.
Yeah, well, I guess looking at that too, Reece, the bonuses is obviously the pack is compounded at the moment under the safety car. And that opportunity just to keep on spruiking that. Obviously, tyres aren't going to be a factor. We mentioned that we've got 10 sets available, so he's not going to reach to those this early in the piece. However, really puts himself on an alternate strategy, maybe from the front runners, and you know, over the course of the race, starts buying himself back into this one.
Yeah. It's basically a free kick, right? If not extending your stint, then it just allows you a little bit of extra wiggle room to play with your strategy. You know, you don't want your options to be limited. The more fuel you have in the car, the more options you have.
Yep. And just a notable mention too, guys, Rob Northway. So Robert just up a couple of spots by my calculations here. So just during those very intimate green flag running opportunities, obviously got up there and is tucked in behind Ewan Baker. So he'll be happy about that little bit of early progress as well.
Absolutely. Lights out on the safety car as they clear just T1 there. So I suspect they'll be in at the end of this lap. There quite a few people taking the chance, like the boys mentioned, to get into the pit lane, keeping that fuel well topped up. Cautions are plenty, very little racing so far at the start of the 2026 Simdy 500 here on a lovely Sunday afternoon in Indianapolis. But look, these guys and girls will be keen to get down to some serious green running here. So the guy...
Hang on, we're not going green, not going green.
Sounds like the caution period has been extended by race control.
Does.
We had an incident off the back, guys.
Oh dear. Well, that's not ideal. Matt Town having to turn his car around. Not entirely certain what went on there. It seems that there was a pretty significant checkup, actually. Initial contact being made by Ethan Holland on Brett Henderson. And yeah, well, if you're at the back of the field, you got to make sure that you don't run into the back of everyone who's currently at pace car speed. So unfortunately, Ethan Holland running over the back of Brent Henderson, and Ethan Town making contact with the wall, actually. Ethan didn't make... Oh, sorry, Matt Town didn't make contact with any other cars.
No.
Looks like a hardware failure, maybe.
I was about to say, was it a hardware failure, Reece? Because it just didn't look very uncommon to see a car do that. I just wonder whether he had a disconnection on his equipment or something, because that was very, very strange.
Yeah.
It's not as uncommon as you would think, is it? These, minor hardware glitches or failures, even where we see these boards.
Look, I think they're out there just in this early stage, just to see how how the comms team are going to handle something a little different. And Reese, Dave, I think we're all over it at the moment. It's relatively easy at the moment. So looking forward to this green flag running that we're about to get, and I'm surely fourth time lucky.
We are. Lights are out again on the Simdy 500 pace car there. Expect to see this in the pit lane any moment.
Yeah, just coming through turns 1 and 2 at the moment. Eventually there will be the run to the green flag. Here we go. Pace cars in. And we're going through 3 and 4, actually. Let's see what Anna Klemek does here. Big
Green
getaway.
green flag.
And the green flag flies. Still got some cars a little bit far back at the rear of the field, but hopefully we avoid a crash as they enter turn 1 at racing speed. Mia Rose immediately picking up the slipstream of Anna Klemek for the lead of the race. But Mia's not going to go for it. She's playing the long game. She wants to save that fuel.
Yeah, very, very obvious roll out of the throttle there, Reese. So opting just to tuck him behind for now. Doesn't want to push the air at this stage.
Oh, Logan Howard with a problem. He's had a big crash. He is down off the racing surface onto the grass, though, so there's no caution. Big problem for the number 12, and it looks like side by side with Luke Dilworth, the car just went on him.
Yeah, so byproduct of maybe some slow safety car running and the tyres not fully up to working temperature at that point of time. Just pushed a little hard, a little early.
Look at Robert Northway. He's making a massive run for the lead of the race. He's not in any. He's not wanting to hang around, is he? He's running that. Yeah, making those moves. I was just going to say, he's running that higher line in the corners as he goes for the lead of the race now, coming across the bricks. Usually when you're in a battle, you want to run that higher line because you're looking after your tyres and you're getting more clear air flowing over your front wing.
It was a nice lap too, 40 with a 0. We're going to see those times tumble over the next couple of laps of green flag running with the draft in full effect, but Rob Northway really showing what his intentions are early in the piece here, and made the pass on Mia and Anna very quickly. So
yeah, and it was only a corner or two before he did you and Baker as well. So he was only a couple of laps ago running in 4th position, and now leading a race. Definitely showing his intentions early, I think, boys, is Northway. And now we have some serious green light racing here, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we come to see.
Yeah. Anna pretty happy to stay at the pointy end, takes that position back off of Robert. So I'm going to see maybe a little bit of this in the next few laps, just really this feeling out process, or maybe it's a momentum thing, Reese, where, once they get the draft prepared not to lift and roll.
Oh, here comes Baker.
So
Ewan and Noah, he's not intending to hang around either. Makes the move on Mia Rose, and that's going to split the top 4 slightly. I also noticed Bryce Harding is making full use of the slipstream as well. He's made up a couple of spots. He's back to his starting position of 5th.
And a pack past Northway as well. So plenty going on at the top here. Hard to take your eyes off, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, this is what we came to see.
Remember, though, it's still very early stages, so you may see some moves, but I'm certain that the drivers are still looking to preserve their cars here. It's only the 15th lap of a scheduled 200 to run here. Northway and Clemic are doing quite well to keep themselves ahead of Baker and Rose. But Bryce Harding, Dan Stevens, they are closing up and they are right with them now. It is a full-on top 6 battle. You can't count out anyone else, though, all the way down to 18th spot.
I think it was you and Baker there, reset 376 kilometres an hour coming up underneath the wing there. So beautiful job there, and it just rolled out. So really showed the intensity, you know, whether it was the timing thing on proximity of the corner, but wasn't prepared to do anything more than that. Actually, Mia looks for a comeback move here on Ewan, down to the inside of 3. Gets it tucked down nicely on the line. Ewan opting to run that high line you talked about. I think that was Robert Northway was running earlier. So drivers really looking to try and make use of a good couple of lines through these corners, high and low.
Yes, keeping an eye on Billy Rowley, Brad Wiggins, and Julian Kleinbersink ever so briefly at the back end of the top 10. Back to our leaders. Yeah, obviously the inside line is geometrically faster, and so you do get a quicker lap time, but you're working the tyres harder by going through a tighter radius through the corner. So especially as the stint wears on, you're going to be seeing more drivers just stay maybe a car width or so off from the bottom of the circuit. It's all in the interest of keeping those tyre temperatures under control.
The yellow flag is out.
Caution out.
Oh, we're just picking on that now. The camera guys and these guys. Oh, couple of cars across the circuit there. Oh, everyone behind there, lucky to sneak on through unscathed. We will. Let's see if we can pick that up in the replay. Oh, there you go. Just getting it loose. Was
Corey Crossan.
Oh
yeah,
no, it was. Wow.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looked like it involved a couple innocents as well. Matt Priest right behind Corey Crossan.
He was. So Crossan got a little bit snaky through the corner there. The car behind just having to get out of the throttle. And then, like you said,
Brendan Partridge
wow,
could potentially have taken avoiding action from that. Partridge running into the back of Matt Priest, who then ran into the back of Crossan.
Yeah.
You know what? I think if that checkup didn't happen, Crossan would have gotten away with it, and everyone would have still been rolling.
Yeah, tricky call. And again, we see some of the drivers taking advantage of the caution here to sneak into the pit lane, as always.
Robert Northway jumping in.
Yeah, he's jumped in the pits as well. So it'd be interesting to see just based on the times that they're stationary there, what the guys are up to. Are only on lap, well, just turned lap 19, so a little early, one would speak. But I thought maybe, I think it was Ants also grabbed the wall in there as well. Ants Green, just at the back end of that incident, looked for it to go to the high line and avoid that. Maybe just grabbed a little bit of wall. Looked to be relatively quick on the jacks though, so maybe no repairs required there, but it did look ominous that the car may have made contact with the wall.
Yeah. Well, so just a brief explanation of this. So essentially, what these drivers that come into the pits have done here is they have come in halfway through a stint, basically. Maximum amount of laps you can do on a tank is around about 30, and well, the race is 200 laps. So if you extended every single stint to 30 laps, that would be about that would be 6 full stints plus a 20-lap stint right at the end of the race. So I think that Robert Northway, Dan Stevens, also Corey Crossan, who's gotten the fast repair there, throw in Dilworth, Harding, Cam James, Carl Matthews, Ants Green, Ben Wood, Ethan Cale, and Matthew Stables. They have all set themselves up here for full-length stints to the end.
So reverse engineered the strategy on this one. Those drivers that you just called,
Yeah.
looking to take that one early and look to run these things out for the duration of the race. Obviously, all subject to how this thing plays out. But I think it's a good call early.
I agree. Very good call. If I was in their position, I'd absolutely do it. Yeah, it was interesting, though, seeing Robert Northway go for it, especially so high up the field. Whether it's road racing or oval racing, often you'll find that the drivers at the front of the field will stay out longer than anyone else, just to cover off the possibility of traffic. But at Indianapolis, traffic can be an advantage. It's an opportunity to just dial back the fuel mixture on your car, stick in the slipstream, keeping up the pace while using way less fuel than you would otherwise. So I think the advantage is going to compound from this point for Northway, Stevens and company.
I agree. So safety car lights are out. We will be going green this time round. We have seen certainly some ambition on the previous safety car restart. So fingers crossed we go green again here. And get some good running under the belt, as I'm sure based on that strategy, I think Anna Klemick and Mia Rose, Ewan Baker, Billy Rowley, I think they'll all want this.
Yeah, biggest gainer now is Matt Disney, who is basically the last running of the cars that haven't come into the pits yet. 20 positions gained. In comes the pace car, and Anna Klemick,
Green, green, green.
as at the last couple of cautions, is going to lead us away very nicely. It's now only our top three who remain in the positions they started in. We'll have to wait and see if Mia Rose dials up the aggression here, or if she's content to just sit behind Klemick. Bit of a wild card in the form of Ewan Baker as well. We'll see how involved he gets side by side for the lead coming into turn 3. And that's going to be Mia Rose to the front.
Yeah, and Ewan really, more than once already, Reese, has looked to me like he is probably out of that front trio, the one that's been more happy just to sit back a little bit at the moment. So a little bit of experience there. I'm not taking anything away from Anna and Mia, both very accomplished at the sport. However, it just tends to look like a little less urgency from Ewan at this point.
He's just biding his time at the moment, isn't he? He knows that it's still very early stages. Needs to keep an eye out, though, on those rearview mirrors, because Billy Rowley is sticking with him as Mia Rose and Anna Klemick are essentially leapfrogging each other at the front of the field.
Yeah.
I think they're actually working together at the moment to try and build a gap.
It does look like that. Just taking the drive and working as a team there. Look at the gap they've gained already by doing so. Nice work from the girls there. Bit of teamwork.
Ewan might have to look to Billy Rowley here to try and do something similar, just to stay with the girls and keep the pressure on. So Brad Wiggins not too far off the back of this as well. Just going to mention Julian Wisik earlier, Reese, and just maybe, the driver not familiar to myself, but obviously no stranger to yourself, so he looks like he is well in touch with the pace up here at the front.
Yeah, Julian is a bit of an Indycar ace from what I hear. I was briefly teammates with him some years ago. Robert Northway on the replay, making some big moves and making his way back up into 12th spot. He and Dan Stevens are currently fighting for the honour of leading car through the pits. Caution comes out just in time for Anna Klemick to retake the lead of the race. What has gone on further back? Matt Town with plenty of parts missing from his car. Contact with Matthew Stables, from what I can see. Stables squeezed on the tight line through turn 1 as he was trying to make the move. Unfortunately, Matt Town just sent up into the wall. And, well, the woes continue for Corey Crossan and Anthony Green. They got involved as well. It happened right in front of them. And well, at the speeds that they're going through these corners, it's very difficult to change your line. It's hard to check up because, like, the car doesn't want to slow down anyway. And you see that, like, they were right there. There was no time for either of them to react to Town being sprawled across the track.
I agree. They're fully committed, grip limited, aero limited. That is, you know, once they're in there and they've picked their line at that point of time, there's no exit from that. That is unfortunate, and it's well, I guess it's a byproduct of that. However, and it almost looks at times that you just how quickly they let go, Reese and Davo, is just phenomenal. I mean, obviously, there's so much grip until there's not.
Yeah, the more grip you have, generally, the greater the fall off when you lose.
When you don't, yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, it's Captain Obvious over here, but yeah, oh, hello. It looks like we've got a big development at the front here. Everyone's coming in the pit lane. 25 laps complete of the race. This is pretty much the optimum time to come in for your first pit stop if you haven't already.
So, now, speaking of the cars previous, Reese, we talked about the guys that had gone off strategy. What do? Do they stay out? Matt Disney.
Well, what about Northway? He's already pitted.
Northway. Yeah, Dan Stevens. Yeah. Reese talked about this, about reverse engineering this race. They bought themselves a ticket early, paid some credit before this moment, and looks to put themselves with good track position.
Big problem for Mia Rose on pit lane. She overshot her pit box and had to reverse back and then drive forwards into it again. She's lost a lot of track position from that. Comes out in 19th, and that is 2, 4, 6, 7 positions behind Anna Klemek. She was right behind her before.
Yeah.
And now a former race leader sits in 11th with Matt Disney, the only car yet to come in for his first pit stop. Dan Stevens, your effective race leader.
Yes, look, and this is, I mean, pit stops. This is why they are so well practiced by the top end. It's the 1%ers in the pit stops, and what are we talking? 6, 7 pit stops throughout the race here. The littlest, the smallest of errors, and they're 9 positions. Wow.
Yeah, quite rough. The brakes obviously run at a very low pressure, so the car's only going to slow down so quickly. You got to be right on your marks, and unfortunately, Mia just overshot a little.
A couple of waiver rounds to be mentioned. I think it was Logan, and just trying to see, maybe it was just trying to see who the other car was. But there were 2 waiver rounds this time by, so obviously no lucky dogs, but we do have some waiver rounds there, and that'll be by way of just the way this safety car's fallen, track position. And I'll tell you what it does set up for the broadcast team is Mia Rose will be, I believe, on full attack mode in this next session. So this next stint, should it run green, look for Mia Rose, who has got a ton of car pace on board to try and rectify that deficit that she's just been dealt with through the pit lane and inconsistency there. So looking forward to seeing how Mia runs through the pack here.
Yeah, just to compare pit stop times, most drivers have been running pit stop times of about 8 to 10 seconds, with a lane time for Anna Klemek of 34 seconds. Mia Rose, with overshooting the pit stop, her lane time was 42.5 seconds. She has lost 11 seconds, basically, on Anna Klemek as a result of that mistake.
Yeah, double the time on the jack, Reese. Just a little over 16.5 seconds is super costly, right?
Oh, yeah, it is. But with that comes the possibility that she took tyres. So she may or may not have a little bit of extra tyre life to work with compared to everyone else. Looks like we are getting ready to go green once again, though, with Matt Disney leading the charge.
And and Robert Northway back in a podium position.
So potential maybe for Matt Disney guys to only really, given the safety car laps to run out to maybe 35, 36 laps in this race. Obviously, safety cars bought us a lot of time. However, he is really out of sequence, albeit from the lead of the race.
Oh,
right
problem.
now.
Big problem. Caution's back out again, this time for Anna Klemic going for a spin. Fortunately, she avoids damage, but she got majorly checked up in turn 2 with the slow Martin War running right in front of her, and unfortunately just got hit in the back by Billy Rowley.
Ooh, and definitely damage to Rowley's car. We saw a little bit of the front aero detach itself there. Anna might have got away with that. Undamaged and lucky not to end up in the wall or touched up there with the car across
really
the
rough.
track. So very tricky stuff there. And again, we just see cars a little bit low. He was a little bit low on the corner there. Had to slow the car up. Anna having to check up on the throttle there, causing the following car just to tag the back. I think it was War there, tagging the back of her. So, difficult situation. We've seen that already a couple of times today here.
Yeah, this is what, the 4th or 5th caution
Yep.
that we've gotten, and we're not even at a full green flag stint's worth of laps yet. I certainly hope that that things can get cleaned up a little and we can get some actual green flag running in to see how this race evolves.
You're not wrong there, Reese. Begging for it about now.
True.
I'm pretty sure over half the field would be echoing the same sentiment too, as looking for just some sort of consistency with the running. You know, like I really think though the likes of Dan Stevens, Rob Northway and co, you know, you called it early, great way to reverse that and strategize this race. And the more that this goes on, I think the more it plays into that strategy as well.
Yeah, indeed it does. Just seen that Race Control have given Matthew Stables an end-of-line penalty. Not entirely sure what that's for, but it looks like he may have almost run into the back of Ants Green coming back onto that restart. Aside from that, I don't see much to betray a penalty for Matthew Stables. So, yeah, tiny mystery there. Anna Klemic has come back into pit lane. No surprise to see. Now that she's at that big disadvantage with the spin, makes sense that she would just brim the tank up and maybe try to reverse engineer something from further back in the field.
Yeah, a little bit of speculation, guys, but I think maybe I sort of didn't quite pick up on everything that Race Control had undertaken there, but it may have had something to do with a restart proximity gap maybe that led into that. Not too sure, but I think it could lead down that road. So Race Control very, very astute and on the money with how to unpack this stuff, and a little bit more than us, but I think it could have something to do with the proximity.
Yeah, of course, you want to be as orderly as possible on the restart, and there are rules in place for, you know, the minimum and maximum distance you need to leave to another car. It is expected that drivers will keep a reasonable pace at the back of the field and not dawdle, so to speak. Not hang back, because there can be an advantage to be gained by that, by starting further back, accelerating earlier, and so basically having extra speed compared to everyone else when you cross the line and start racing again. But also there's a bit of danger involved if you're too far back and you're accelerating but no one else in front of you has gone yet, then you get cars running into each other.
Yeah, true that. Absolutely. So obviously they're all over that, and glad we've got this job, guys, not that one.
Yeah, I've never done an Indy 500 behind the wheel. Martin War that's the reason for the checkup there. He just got a bit too low in turn 2, caught the grass slightly, and the grass and those curbs. I mean, we call them curbs, but they're really just flat strips of concrete at the bottom of the corners. You kind of want to stay off them. There's not much grip on them, and it's very easy to unsettle the car. Klemic, for her credit, she didn't run into the back of War, but couldn't say the same for the car behind her.
Yeah, you certainly got to have eyes in both directions, although, however, like we said, grip limited, aero limited at that point. She'd done everything right, and the rest was really just history and unfortunate. There's nothing she could do about that. However, it just shows how much faith you have to have in the drivers around you. And look, I think the longer this thing goes on, I think the less of this we're going to see as they really find the rhythm of these restarts in particular as well.
So we're coming up to the next call of the green flag. Matt Disney, still the only car yet to come into pit lane, and should only have a few more laps of fuel on board that car. He is going to take this restart as we accelerate away. There's a big compression at the front of the field. Looks like Matt Disney was checking up everyone else. They're 3 wide for the lead, and Northway goes for it. The caution's back out again.
Oh, that was epic there. I'm sure Disney had a problem with his throttle, maybe a hardware issue there, because the car just did not go anywhere at all.
And you know what? This time, Mia Rose has been involved in the incident that brought out the caution. She's had to tow back to pit lane, ran into the back of Heath Mannering, who went absolutely nowhere on that restart.
Or potentially transpired through a misshift. If anything to go off of it was potentially a misshift on the restart through the gearbox, and not something that's probably that common. However, probably would explain what we just saw there, because that escalated quickly.
So just going to try and pick up. I think it was Brad Wiggins. Was it Wiggins' car?
God.
Have a look at Wiggins' car here. We got this one.
Yeah, oh, hello. Yeah, Billy Rowley as well with problems too. We had cars on the wall up in the first couple of corners. This is...
Brad Wiggins in the air, all the way, fence, up on the edge, railing it.
Oh, I didn't see that one, Reese. That was a completely different incident.
Yeah, had a couple of incidents through turn 1, and yeah, it's just again, it's a case of you need to pay really close attention to what's going on in front of you, and at the same time make sure that you're getting your momentum up quick enough, because you know, speed differences, even when you're getting up to speed in the IndyCar, it makes such a huge difference.
Clearly. So, and that's a classic example. We saw that again, and we've seen it several times today, should I say, already, with that speed difference, particularly on the restarts there, where we've got guys just, and again, we just picked up on that Mia Rose thing there. She literally had to roll out of the throttle because of the car in front of her not getting away neatly, and it just turns bad really quickly. So,
guys, I'm a little surprised at lap 34 to see Matt Disney not take this opportunity to maybe get that thing down, and is still at the better end of the pointy end of the field, and we know he's on a completely different strategy to the better part of the field here. So that's interesting that he looks. Do you think, Reese, maybe he's stretching this thing out as long and as close as possible to when the next maybe portion of cars come in for that really kind of predicted stop?
Yeah, maybe, but all things considered, the longest stint length other than Matt Disney is basically everyone around him who's on their 16th lap. There's still a long way to go before they would like to come into the pits next. I think that Matt Disney maybe has sensed how the early part of this race is going, with the cautions coming out every few laps, and he's just waiting for the next caution to come in. He's probably anticipating that it won't be too far away.
So at lap 35, you know, if he sees another one inside the next, say, 2 laps, that could work to the plan he's working to, and really jumping on down there. And, you know, we've got guys that have stopped lap 18. We've got a big portion of cars that stopped around that lap 25 odd. So, yeah, could work out in his favour here.
Well, lights are off on the pace car, and Robert Northway now to the front of the field. Those drivers that pitted around lap 19 or so are the ones mostly at the front of the field at the moment. So, big question is, what can Dan Stevens, Luke Dilworth and Bryce Harding do? They have Matt Disney up ahead of them, who is the lightest car in the field at the moment, but is expected to come into the pits very shortly. So how that's going to affect the racing at the front remains to be seen.
So update on terminal speeds on the green flags running. We have had Logan Howard there, 39.7 to be the fastest through the lap bracket at the moment. So haven't seen those mid-39s yet, Reese, that we predicted, obviously due to just not enough green flag running.
Yeah, and maybe and fully fueled cars when we do have green flag running too. So we are about to go green once again with Rob Northway.
Again, Matt Disney really slow on the restart.
Incredibly.
And immediately gets just gobbled up by Dan Stevens there with nothing for him. Dilworth's coming as well. Looking clean at the back though for a change here, boys. So I won't say too much. I want to put the mocker on the boys. But, yeah, good clean stuff and very busy going on. We're just actually picking up on Anna Klemick sneaking around Boyce with Billy Riley.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got one in the fence behind them immediately.
Oh, dearie me. And yeah, I had seen a couple of times the problems that Billy Rowley had been suffering. He's the car that got into the wall. He was already carrying damage off that restart. He was way down on speed. Everyone was just struggling to find their way past him, and that car just didn't seem to turn for him.
No, well, Terry just went into the back of him there. The red car.
Yeah.
Who's in the red car there? Sorry.
Billy Rowley. Just
Rowley.
have a look at the closing
Rowley.
speed there.
Okay.
No speed through the corner.
So Rowley had half of the front wing. He had the left-hand side of the wing was missing.
Yeah.
So.
And now all of the front wing is missing, plus the right side tyre and the rear wing for
and
that
the
matter.
rear. That's right. Yes.
I'm amazed that that car is still rolling, frankly. But once pit road opens, Rowley will surely have to come in.
Yeah. That is a well-damaged car.
So does Matt Disney finally come into pit lane this time? It looked like he was thinking about it. But, oh, hello. It looks like he will. Finally, the number 86 makes its way into the lane after 37 laps done.
So Disney
here though for Matt Disney, guys. Obviously came in. There is a couple others that have come in as well by the look of it. However, one would expect that would be a tyre stop and a fuel stop comes out. The car will be in a great position. However, a long way down the pack. I'd be interested to see where he lands here. Certainly would be somewhere around the 20th
top
spot.
20,
I would have
20
thought.
Something. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, taking advantage of the sheer amount of cautions that we've had so far, and he will stay on the lead lap and in the fight.
As well.
Yeah, up 13 places. Now, it looks like on somewhat corrected order, biggest gainer in the field looks to be Kyle Matthews. Car 113 doesn't have pit stop or lane times much different to those around him, but he has made up bulk positions to start take to this restart in 5th at the moment.
Yeah, interesting too to see him on the same lap as Harding, Dilworth, Stevens and co as well, with like you mentioned, slightly longer on the jacks, maybe a little bit more fuel, but certainly put himself in a fine spot at the moment. So he's played this one nicely just prior to the first 40.
I think a big part of it is just getting lucky on those cautions, because a lot of the cautions they've started back of the field involving cars that started further down, and Kyle Matthews was among those cars that started further down, but he wasn't involved in those incidents. So he's gained a few free positions from cars coming into the pits, and also pitting at the right time, same time as our leaders, managing to elevate himself. That track temperature has started to climb as well, up to 33 Celsius. There's barely any clouds in the sky at the moment, so that sun is beating down. That track temperature is only going to rise.
Yeah, so that plays back into this tyre wear issue. Obviously not enough green flag running it for it to be a true factor. However, it will impact the lap time, I'm sure.
Yeah, lap times will definitely be slower, and the front tyres will be struggling a little more. So they'll have to twist that weight jacker a little bit to get the rear end a tiny bit looser to look after those fronts, but you want to look after the rears at the same time too. If you're just starting a full stint here, then the tyres are not going to last very well. But Northway, Stevens, basically everybody down to Ethan Cale. You throw in Matt Priest and Ben Wood as well. They will be pitting in the not too distant future. Green flag flies and we're away again.
Green flag.
And Northway literally jumps on the throttle, takes off very rapidly, leaving Stevens maybe a little bit napping. Dilworth, who you guys were just breaking down his gains as is Matthews. Dilworth right in the background as well. The turn 3. Lap 40. The Simdy 500.
Right at the moment.
Yes, doing off.
Seems that it's a clean start for the moment.
Are we holding our breath a little bit, guys? I
yeah.
feel like tentative.
I am.
Yeah.
just a little bit. If we go a little bit quiet every now and then, that's why, ladies and gentlemen. We're just like, But yeah, the guys away nicely there. Northway and Stevens there trading a little bit throughout the lap, but a good clean start for the mid-pack too, which has been hectic, ladies and gentlemen. And again, 3 wide here.
Right. Gently does it. Anna Klemick getting by Xavier Simmons and Brent Henderson there. And Miro's not too far behind. The drivers who started on the front row of the grid or thereabouts getting disadvantaged by being involved in crashes through the cautions and now trying to work their way back up.
Yeah, doing a fine job as well. That was a nice move from Anna there. She just sat in the pocket down low, just put both her pockets there through so it was a nice move for, I think, Anna and Mia to work their way forward if we had some good green flag running. However, at the top end of town, it is tight. It is super tight. Bryce Harding, Dilworth, Northway as well.
Dan Stevens has taken the lead in the meantime. He made an attempt on it a few moments ago, which we did see on live pictures, but the tighter inside line doesn't work when you're attempting a pass, especially when the track temperature is starting to rise like it is. If you're wanting to get a move done, you have to make sure that you're passed before you turn in for the corner. And if you have a move put on you, well, you can just run that higher line and take advantage of the straighter exit and ramp off the banking.
Absolutely. So I think Matt Priest, Julian, Alex Zekas and co, I think they really need to try and work together here, guys. They're currently sitting out in 9th, 10th and 11th, and there's a big gap. You know, by Indy standards, there's a very, very big gap back to Ethan Carl, who is very much in touch with the front pack. And this is probably the first time this race that we've seen this, where we've really had a good breakout of the top 8, and then we've got some margin to work with for this next pack. And look, it can all get undone through a safety car, dare I say it. However, those guys have got some work to do at the moment.
Yeah, plenty indeed. So,
and the boys have actually
moment,
left. Sorry to interrupt there, Reese, but yeah, those two, we were talking about them as the trio there. I think they've actually left Priest, and like you were saying, J-Man, I think these guys are definitely teamed up here. And making good gains, and you immediately see that with only a lap or so, the gap they've got on Priest. And again, we see that position change, using each other. There's aero there throughout the lap, so nice work. Back up the pointy end, Stevens again takes off in the lead, Reese.
Yeah, I was going to say it's been a pretty solid drive from Zekas and from Clanbersink as well, continuing to leapfrog each other. I believe trying to make up time to Ethan Cale, but they don't want to get crossed up between the turns at the far ends of the circuit. That can cost you a lot of time. Stevens and Northway, though, going to be joined by Luke Dilworth, and it's side-by-side behind between Bryce Harding and Kyle Matthews. This time, the driver on the inside line gets it done, and oh, there's a bit of a slide there for Matthew Stables, in fact. That's not for position. Matthew Stables down in 19th at the moment. First car a lap down,
wide.
And this is going to cause some drama.
3 wide into 1 there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just the pick up there too, just talking about the temperature, really just starting to see a little bit of push from a few of these cars here. That temperature, those fronts really starting to protest us. Just saw it from, I think it was Alex Zekas as well, just whether it was aero wash at the moment or whether they're just front tyres just not as compliant as he would have liked. He had to roll out of the throttle at a time where he would have normally been hard on the accelerator. So just watch for that as we approach these later laps towards the first 50 here, that maybe these guys be just splashing and dashing with the fuel through the safety cars. However, tyres haven't been a factor. They've been just playing it cautiously. You can see it again there through turn 3 for Zekas. So tyre we're going to start coming into play as the front 2 still trading, guys, very much. Dan Stevens, Robert Northway, look at the try and work together to try and make this gap.
Yeah, they're both doing a good job of not running too low in the corners at this stage. Preserving those tyres is the name of the game right now. The fuel is going to work out however it works out. So you're just trying to preserve temperature. Keep those tyres cool. Don't run below the white line. Don't hit the curb. Try and stick half of your car out from behind the one in front of you through the corners just to get that little bit of extra air over the aero.
So somewhat of a settled down process for the first time since we've gone live here, guys. The guys and girls look very, very settled at this point of the race. However, there's still a little bit of dual file going on throughout the field. However, the front, you could argue the front 10 very much just single file and just getting into the rhythm of this race now is what we wanted to see. Anna Klimek on the move back, just about on the back now of Matt Priest and Alex Zekas, so should be happy about that progress after that. Mia Rose as well, a little bit of an air gap up to Matthew Stables. However, she's on the comeback as well, so a little bit of progression at this point, and lo and behold, it won't be too long before we see that really that second round for the likes of Rob Northway, Dan Stevens, Dilworth and co having to make those stops really to stay in sequence. Last time, through for those guys, lap 18 and 19 respectively for those front three. So just look for that as we approach that next phase of pit stops.
So the total laps that we saw from Matt Disney, 37. That was with all of those cautions. You combine that with the fact that Stevens, Northway and company, they're now on their 33rd lap. I would expect that they're not far away from potentially having to make a green flag pit stop, which is going to turn the race on its head again. The question on my mind is outliers in the top 10, Julian Kleinbusink and Anna Klemic. Julian has just completed 26 laps on his stint. Anna Klemic, only 17 laps done. So does she stay out when the rest of the front runners come in, or does she pit with them to try and get the slipstream on the way out and maintain track position?
Yeah, that would be a great question. Just sort of picking up, guys, just something I'll be just watching a little bit of the late. I mentioned the push from Nzsrc's car. Just the car to me doesn't look like it's entirely comfortable there. He's really going backwards now. It's actually escalating now. So I'm not sure whether Nzsrc has got a problem, whether he's touched the wall or he's carrying a bit of residual damage. But that car starting to fall down the pack. It wasn't that long ago that he was maybe 4 or 5 spots further up than what he is now. He's hanging with it at the moment, but nice to unpack what's going on there for Alex.
Yeah, so Woods just quickly sneaking past there as well as, I think it's out of position Mia Rose as well. Just sneaking
she's
past as
second
well.
car a lap down.
Yeah, so both those guys are quickly past Nzsrc's. So definitely something going on with that car there. Losing pace and losing it quickly. Not ideal at Indianapolis, ladies and gentlemen.
Nothing really visible aesthetically for me. I've been focusing on the car on every angle we've got, and it looks okay. I just wonder whether there's something in the front end that's not quite working for him, and just keep an eye on that. And I tell you what, Ewan Baker just putting a move down on the inside of Bryce Harding at the moment. So those guys very much, I think, full attack mode, heading towards what we believe will be realistically that second phase, Reese and Davo, to the, I guess, what their engineering, we talked about them making that short stop, those early fills early, buys them a bit of time under safety car to run these things long.
Yeah, 36 laps done for our front runners, and surely now is the time that they'll be thinking about coming in. We'll need to wait and see on that. Our top 6 all together for the moment, and if Stevens comes in, I'm sure they'll all follow him in as well. Coming out of turn 4, do we see them stick down? Not quite. They're going to go another lap, and Northway's going to go for the lead again.
Gets it done, or does he?
Good momentum into the corner. He managed to maintain that pace. He didn't overheat those fronts too much, which is good to see. I've been thinking about Alex Nzsrc as well, and I'm not sure what's going on with him. I think potentially he might be running a lower fuel map, but just not quite able to keep up with the other cars in the slipstream, so he's just suffering on straight line speed. Either that, or he has just worked his tyres too hard. Yeah,
you're right there. Could be definitely something along with the fuel mixture there, and maybe a little bit of forward thinking, looking a little further down the road at the moment. He could be. Ewan Baker looks to have the ability, I think, here, guys, to run a little longer than the likes of Northway, Stevens and Dilworth by way of last time stopping there for Baker. However, for me, I guess through adversity, Anna Klemic there, having been in lap 34. Very, very quick stop though, guys. Based on my calculations, I think we could back that up, Reese. I'm not sure. Was that the fast repair stop, that one there? So maybe not as good as we think
Northway
on fuel.
Sorry to interrupt. little bit Northway.
You've got Northway and Stevens on the way in there from the front. Matt Priest is going to jump in with them as well. Ben Wood also making his way in. So that's 39 laps on that stint for Northway and Stevens. Matt Priest making it 40 laps. He really stretched that one out.
Yeah, and so Priest pressed on with that. He was with Zekas for a bit, wasn't he? So, I think, based on what I'm seeing, yeah. So he actually made that work quite well as the, I think the Northway Stevens cars get out. Just looking to see if that changed. No, it did not. They remain the same.
That's Cale and James in the pits as well, boys.
Yep.
Carl Matthews comes in as well. Remember, he was the biggest gainer in the top 10, and this is a really good spot for him to be in. We'll see what pit stop time works out to be for him. At the moment, it seems that you know, it's generally your 8 to 9 second stops, just grabbing fuel, maybe bolting some fresh tires on. Yeah, it's all looking pretty orderly in pit lane at the moment. Nothing's really jumping out to me right now. We're just filtering in.
Yeah, and just around 0.3 of a second difference between Northway and Stevens in the lane there. So just nice and close there. Those guys running to a very similar number there in the lane. However, as I mentioned, Baker being the latter of those front three earlier on to stop, or front five anyway, looks to just run a little longer, but expect him at the moment just to stretch this one out a little bit under green flag conditions. And I guess every lap that you do in this environment with your competition, with the potential of a caution, just buys you a little bit of hope here to maybe get that free kick.
Well, now we wait to see what Ewan Baker and Anna Klemic do at the front of the field, as Marcus Walker is the next car to come into pit lane. And yeah, Klemic looks like is trying to get herself onto the strategy that Baker, Kleinbersink, Zekas, Green and Hadley Boyce are on, as well as Matt Disney as well. It's amazing, frankly, how fast the time goes. Now that we're under green flag conditions and we're actually seeing a proper green flag run going, Matt Disney's already completed 23 laps. It feels like just a few laps ago he was coming through the lane.
Yeah, wow. So he is kind of making that strategy work at the moment, guys. It's going to be interesting. It's going to take a fair old while to see how that one plays out. However, I feel like he backed himself at the start of this one with all the safety cars. Really did just keep true to maybe what his plan was at the moment, and it looks to be pretty good at the moment.
Smart driving from Matt Disney. Alex Zekas emerges from pit lane with a 10.2 second stop. That's slightly on the longer side. Looks like he might have put a bit more fuel in the car, either that or didn't quite stop on his marks. Of course, you have a virtual pit crew in iRacing, and your pit stop time can often be dependent on where you stop in the box, because the simulator simulates the jackmen and the fuel guy having to sort of reshuffle their positions if you're off your marks.
Yeah, very cool stuff. We love it. It plays a big hand in all of this, given that how tight it is. I talked about, you know, Northway and Stevens being 0.3 of a second. You know, that might not have been fuel loads. That may have been car position on the jacks. However, there's absolutely nothing separating them out on track for P6 and P7, and Baker now and Julian in the lane. So relinquishes the lead back to Anna, who hasn't seen the fresh air for some time after those early incidents and safety cars. So well played to Anna there, as I mentioned previously, on lap 34, lap 64 now. So expect Anna to be down on the lane again in the not distant future. So Hadley Boyce, guys, just quietly achieving there. Last in lap 37, doing a good job.
Yeah, it's been a solid drive from Hadley. on the same strategy as Matt Disney, in fact. But Hadley was one of the drivers who was pitting basically every single caution early on. So a little bit of a different way to get to the same spot.
So, obviously, just with some recent green light pit stops there, we're sort of starting to see a little bit of the strategy or the like, I suppose, with alternate fuel stop.
The yellow flag is out.
And
Caution!
Caution.
Oh, no. I spoke too
Ben
soon.
Wood and Ben Wood and Xavier Simmons there.
Oh yeah, looks like another quite large impact. It appears Ben Wood tried to make the move on him into turn one, and unfortunately, Xavier Simmons didn't quite leave the space to the inside. Turned down a little bit harshly in the middle of the corner. Potentially there was some aero instability or even net code there.
Oh,
And to be fair, Ben Wood also was suffering understeer down low.
Yeah, and there was an unfortunate
Mannering.
bystander that copped that as well. Was Heath Mannering, was it?
Heath Mannering, literally upside down the circuit into, I think that's one there. So, wow.
So this actually works out really well for Clemic, Boyce, and Disney. They can, they're almost at the end of their stints at the moment, and they can jump straight into the pits behind the safety car, not lose too much track position, I think.
And what was it? It was maybe 2 laps too late for the likes of Ewan Baker and co. That I'm sure they would have loved this to have been a couple of laps earlier. However,
True that.
Anna Clemic, the benefactor. I mean, and look, she was disadvantaged early, obviously, by a similar situation. And funny how fortune favours a little bit later on. So Anna Clemic over Hadley, Boyce, Matt Disney, Northway, Walker, Stevens. Yeah, so certainly shaking it up at lap 67.
Xavier Simmons is making no secret of how he feels about the incident with Ben Wood, and I understand his frustration. But you know, you need to be well across really how the IndyCar handles getting up the inside in these corners. It really is amazing how much the presence of another car affects the way you're driving. You know, how much aero grip you actually have. And unfortunately, Ben Wood found that out the hard way, went for the inside, and then the front end of the car just went. So Anna Clemic is in. Dan Stevens and Robert Northway have decided to come in as well. Only 10 laps complete on the stint for the both of them.
Rose is as well. Ben Woods and Mannering obviously still in the pits with repairs.
Yes.
Yeah, so interesting strategy, Reese, there for those guys, for Dan Stevens. Almost not quite, mimicking Anna there, but really, I guess, once again, coming off strategy, you could argue that that's, you know, probably not even half what they expected from that tyre set and that fuel load.
No. Robert Northway is still in pit lane. 40 seconds now passed in the pit stop for the number 46. Something's going on there for Northway. 48 seconds spent in the box there. And he's going to come out in 12th. So it's not day done, but that is quite interesting to see how long that stop was for Northway.
So it begs the question. So clearly no fast repair used.
Yeah.
Here we go. Hang on.
Yeah.
That was for Mannering. But Northway.
No, Northway. Northway just commenting through live comms for the comms team that was something to do with not making the race end or something. So it was a strategy call, guys. he literally did just jump on the comms and give us some feedback. I kind of just missed it a little bit. Sorry, guys, but it was planned.
Huh. Well, I mean, the pit stop itself, yes, but I think still a bit of a mystery over the length of the stop, because it doesn't take that long to fill up the car and change all 4 tyres.
No, that's right. So I think we've still got the full pit lane time for Northway was 1 minute and 27 seconds for that pit lane time. Pit stop was, like Reese mentioned, around the 40. It's definitely high 40s. 47.7 shows on our data. I think it might have been a little bit more even, Reese, to be honest. So,
we'll chase that one up, guys. We'll get to the bottom of that and see what actually that was, because like you said, guys, that still does not math.
No, the math doesn't math. You're right there, J-Man. But what does math is that Ethan Cale is now sitting tucked in behind their pace car at the moment, the Simdy 500 pace car. The lights are out and it is away into the pit lane. And we are about to go green once again after... I've lost count how many safety cars we've had. Ethan with a bit of a sluggish start there. It's allowed Bacon to grab the jump nicely and takes him immediately into one.
Here we go then, side by side. And dipping below is Cam James, going to make his way past Ethan Cale for second spot. It's a very jumbled up front of the field. Julian Kleinbersink with an awful lot of momentum there, but he'll be boxed in on the way into turn 3. No chance to get it done, and now the outside line comes to the fore once more. Marcus Walker runs a little bit too high, though, just ahead of Anna Klemic, who's come out of the pits there in 6th place. Alex Zekas with a black flag to his name. I think that might be a sim-assigned one.
Okay, Cam actually took quick advantage of that whole situation there at the jump start without Cale not getting away there. Gets Baker and Cale before the end of the first lap.
So an update on the Northway situation. He did need to go to the toilet. So there you go.
Cool.
There you go. He wasn't going to make it to the end of the race. All I heard was
he wasn't going to make
it to the end of the race. Judy calls, guys. Judy calls.
He wasn't lying.
Yeah, it wasn't a car thing. It was a him thing. Wow. Well, all things considered, pretty impressive that he's managed to stay on the lead lap in the process and is now making his way further back into the top 10. He's just worked his way past Luke Dilworth.
Yep. Let's just hope there's no clean-up on aisle 3.
Oh, dearie me. Well, let's see what kind of cleanup there is into these corners. Northway now jetting up to the back of Brad Wiggins to try and make up another spot. He is using those fresh tyres to their full effect, but no pace down low when you're right behind a car. And a Clemic starting to make a charge forward as well.
Yeah, so the boys just tangled up with an out-of-position car. I'm not sure who that is there. It might be Woods, actually, Ben Woods. They're mixing it up with the top 3.
Ethan Holland.
It was Ethan, yeah, so a couple of little awkward moments there as the field try to navigate that. Tricky stuff, high tension.
Yeah, this is difficult having lapped cars in amongst the leaders. Looks like Mia Rose briefly made her way back onto the lead lap through the pit cycle, but now is off the lead lap again.
And a Clemic there. Very
and who was that on the wall?
Oh. Matthew Stables. Again, one of the cars that is not quite on the lead lap at the moment. So there's quite a bit of drama that's going on here, but no crashes just yet. I've probably just manifested our next caution.
Quite possibly.
Commentary telepathy going on here.
Fingers to my temples.
It's coming. The intensity has just gone up a notch, team. They are really pressing on now. They got a sniff of the green flag running in the recent past, and it looks very, very high intensity at the moment as we just watch them really go to work. It's a little settled. Cam James, Baker, Kale, and Julian Hypersink as well. Looking kind of comfy at the moment. However, that next pack, Walker, Clemick, Stevens, Northway, that is the one. I think if there's any drama coming, it's the urgency from the second pack there.
Because there's plenty of urgency in the top 4. These guys running very, very close together.
Yeah,
Walker,
the issue is for that second pack, Ethan Holland is a bit of a thorn in their side because, yeah, you mentioned Marcus Walker and Anna Clemick. They're trying to find their way past Ethan Holland, who's in 22nd place at the moment, off the lead lap. Easy does it. Oh, so close to making contact. Holland, with the outside line, is just getting better runs through and out of the corners. There's nothing that Marcus Walker can do.
Yeah, that was super obvious there. The high line really working for him. Clemick now goes down to the line.
and we look over the
run there.
Looking over the rear wing of Holland's car, he definitely is the old guy, the slow guy in the fast lane at the moment.
But doing enough.
Well, he is. That's the whole point. And they go 3 wide again into turn 3. That's Anna. Clemick through. Gets it done. Gets past both of them.
Yeah, just
Very
opens the
nice.
steering up as well.
Oh.
Out of 4, just to get the run. Read that situation beautifully, did Anna that time through. Gets herself out of that. And rightly so, because I don't think she want to stay there too long.
Marcus Walker still stuck behind Ethan Holland at the moment. Anna Clemick has, meanwhile, latched on to the back of the front 4.
And that's Mia Rose actually in the background as well.
Back. Yep. Really, really gritty drive at the moment from Mia. Eyes forward. Currently sitting P16. We're really doing a level best to try and get back through here. We just know how critical the safety car periods could be. Reese called it earlier. Really got back on the lead.
Oh, just enough room to the outside there for Walker to try and get past Holland. He finally gets that outside line and moves past the lapped car. So he's finally free. But is he out of slipstream range versus Anna Clemick? Well, no, he's within a second, so he should be able to get some slipstream off her at least.
The car looks fast. The car looks good. It was just literally being able to place it in the right spot to clear.
And we settle in again. The car that looks closest to coming into the pits is Matt Priest, who's on his 23rd lap. But Cam James and Ethan Cale, they're on their 22nd lap right now. So if we stay green for the next 10 laps, we'll be seeing them come in for sure. Will Baker follow them in? Will Anna Clemick do the same? Stevens, Northway, and Clemick all on the same strategy. Most of our former race leaders are.
The only time since we've gone green. It's the only time we've gone green since we started this race, guys, that J-Man's hoping for a Northway here because looking for a pit stop. And James.
We just wait with bated breath, don't we? Every single time they come into these corners side by side. Anna Klemek has caught up to Julian Klunbersink and has dispatched him into turn 1.
Yeah,
so
mate, that
Klemek's charge back to the front. It was a very nice move in the end there for Klemek.
It was a nice, steady fight back through the field, both herself and I think it was Mia Rose couple that were leading the race at the start. And both running into issues, so both of them with a good, steady, measured fight back.
Yeah, and look, since the green flag running, Cam James, Ewan Baker, Ethan Carl, it's all been pretty civil. However, they're going to have to get a wriggle on because Anna's now turned up on the scene. And just how quickly we saw her dispatch Julian and Marcus, I think, is a testament to what we're going to see here. That she's got the bit between the teeth at the moment and really wanting to go back out to the front. This is playing in potentially to the strategy that she's on at the moment. Last time in for Anna was lap 67, so she's got a bit more in the tank and the three in front of her as well. So green flag running looking good at the moment for Anna.
Ewan Baker starting to catch up to Cam James and maybe thinking about a move. For the moment, Northway and Stevens are swapping positions in 7th and 8th.
Yeah, the boys in the chopper picking that up. I think they've been side by side for the whole lap, actually, Reece.
Yeah. Trying to sort themselves out there. They are going to be the next drivers to come up on Ethan Holland, who was a real thorn in the side for our leading pack a little earlier. Remains to be seen what Northway and Stevens will be able to do here. But it seems for the moment, Northway and Stevens can't get free of each other. Oh my goodness, that's a very slow car. Mia, it's Mia. Something's gone very wrong for Mia Rose there.
That car's just...
Contact in between two and three guys for Mia Rose.
Yeah, Marcus Walker got into the wall and he was trying to get unstuck from it. When he did, he basically veered left into Mia as she was trying to get past him.
So unfortunate for Rose. We were only just mentioned earlier that making a particularly good measured fight back after an earlier incident or two, and then all comes unstuck. And
Importantly
though, guys, still green flag running.
Yeah.
True that.
I don't know how we avoided a caution from that.
Didn't even come up on my data. I don't even think the boys have got a replay for it, so...
Yeah, I just happened to be back that way on the cams and just picked it up live, and look, both of them escaping probably better than they should have. But they're picking up a lot of damage in the process.
Mechanical black flag once again, and she's already used her fast repair, I believe. So that's either going to be a lot of time spent in the pits or day done for Mia Rose, who started this race on the front row. Rotten luck.
Absolutely. Oh, this place, Indianapolis, and we are not... Oh, well, look, where are we? Lap 88. We're not even halfway, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty of racing yet to come. We're going to quickly mention our sponsors. Of course, GammaFlare, MRP, KSR, Apex Labs, Race M, New Zealand SIMRACING TV, New Zealand SIMRACING Collective, ladies and gentlemen. New Zealand Esports also on board with this great event, and obviously broadcast to you live today on Sky 83, Face TV, Matchfit Entertainment, and New Zealand SIMRACING TV. ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us today for what has been a very entertaining and highly charged race so far. 89 laps in the Simdy 500. Davo, J-Man and Reese on the mic. Yes, Reese?
Yes, I was just going to jump in and say we've had a couple of takers to pit lane on this lap. Cam James from the front of the field has come in, and you'll see right here what a green flag pit stop costs you. Ethan Cale and Ewan Baker up at the front. You'll see just a little speck in the distance. That is Cam James, who was with them, but has just come out of pit lane with a green flag stop. That's the risk. You potentially fall a lap down if you run a green flag pit stop. As you're going through the sponsors, you know, a fantastic roster of partners and supporters here for this event. There is something in it for the viewers as well. If you've seen in the YouTube chat, there is a link to vote on your driver of the day, and the driver who gets driver of the day will get a Kiwi SimRacing commemorative coin. There is also a prize involved for a random viewer as well. So get in on it, get your votes in on the social media. If anyone jumps out to you as a particularly good performer today, cast your vote for them.
Absolutely, get involved, viewers. So, quickly heading towards the halfway mark, boys. A couple of green flag pit stops going on throughout the last couple of laps.
Saw Ethan Cale just coming into the pits as well, Kyle Matthews too. So 33 laps apiece for those drivers. Cam James completing 30 laps on his previous stint. And he's 2 laps into it now. Looks like, yeah, 110. So I think he's still on course for 3 30-lap stints and 1 20-lap stint is Mr. Cam James. That is, of course, assuming the race stays green, which it looks like it might not. If I saw, what I saw was interesting there on the production feed. Apparently, we stay green, but there was a car on the wall a few moments ago.
I did see that. Just to pick up as well, I'm not sure if you're picking up on that, Reese. Ethan Cale really snagging on the blocks in the pit lane there. Not sure if your data's giving you the same feed as mine, but looked to be a really slow stop.
Actually looks pretty reasonable for me. 10 seconds.
Okay. Yep.
With a 35.5 second lane time. And that's pretty standard amongst the people around him. Most drivers are running those same times generally.
Yep. It's like odd data there, 25.55, and I was like, what has gone there? But might be just iRacing things. However, so nothing to be had there. Ethan Cale doing a nice job. Obviously, the green stopped running, though, is a concern at certain points of the race. There is Anna Clemic finds herself back in the lead of the race once again, guys, over Ewan Baker, but with very, very good company with Julian Climberson in tow as well. So, the front 3 trading. Dan Stevens not far off of this one as well. So, lap 67 for Anna. 64 for Ewan, and 64 lap was the last time stop for the front 3. So Dan Stevens on the same strategy at the moment as Anna as far as previous stops. Speaking of which, who was that? That was Rob Northway down to the lane.
Yes, so all refreshed from his slightly extended pit stop last time. See what he can do here after 28 laps done. So he's that's basically the minimum that you can go on a full tank. That tells me that Northway may have been running the fuel mixture a little richer. Back up to Luke Dilworth, who's one of pretty much all of these drivers at the front approaching the end of this stint. Ewan Baker, the next car to come into pit lane. 32 laps done for him. I'd expect that Julian Kleinbesink will be coming in on the next lap.
And this is where that accuracy at the box really comes into play, doesn't it, for the likes of Ewan Baker and Kleinbesink as well. You know, the difference in how accurate you line this thing up and get it in and out, because the likelihood that the stationary times for fuel in and tyres are very similar. As we see Baker there, 10.1 by my calculation. I'm sure yours is probably a little more accurate than mine. However, looks pretty standard for Baker.
Kleinbesink into the pit lane, boys.
So 34 laps done on that stint for Julian. And when we were riding on board with him on the way in, it really highlights how hard of a stop it is to come into the pit lane. It's a reasonably high pit lane speed limit compared to most other tracks. You're just under 100 kilometers an hour coming down the pit lane here. And Julian's pit stop looks really good. 9.2 seconds by my timing in the box. That was a very tidy stop.
Yeah.
Matt Disney and Hadley Boyce, the next drivers to come in. So now that we are in the rhythm of the race, it looks like, 30 to 32, sometimes up to 33 laps is your stint length there. Robert Northway moves past Julian Kleinbesink for position as Julian emerges just behind, just within slipstream range of the cars ahead. Should be able to get up to speed and chase them down again.
Yes, he bought himself a little bit of track position, I believe, there, Reese, and that pit stop 8.5 seconds, plays the other guys around that 9.5 to just over 10 as well. So did a nice job there on lap 95. See, you mentioned it was a more probably predictable stop based on the last one. It has done a nice job to recover from that as well at this point of time. So really does show how much pace Northway's got in himself and the car at the moment.
Dan Stevens and Bryce Harding, along with Luke Dilworth, the next drivers to come into the pit lane. They've just emerged from the pit lane, right behind this front pack. Well, the effective front pack, you could say, of Northway, Kale, and Baker. Ben Wood in the yellow car, right in the midst of all of these guys as well. He is a couple of laps down at this point. In fact, my timing's telling me he's 6 laps down on the leaders.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And again, some awkward moments for the top group there with some of that lap traffic there, Reese. Particularly at such high speeds here at Indianapolis. They've got to be very careful.
Clemican from the lead, guys, so was expecting that one, and sure enough, she's down on the lane.
Right then. Now we wait to see that front pack emerge. Our effective top 5, Northway, James, Kale, Baker, and Kleinbesink. We'll see if Clemic can join them as I notice Mia Rose still in pit lane, 10 minutes plus now in the box. Clemic comes back out, and just as the leaders come up on her, she's going to come out just behind Kleinbesink.
Massive!
Oh,
Kale and Baker!
God.
Kale and
Wow.
Baker. We picked it up out of the back of Cam James's car live. Massive.
Huge. Were they distracted looking down at Clement exiting?
Coming out. I wonder. I wonder.
Looked to me like so Ewan Baker, he was trying to go for the inside there, but
yeah,
very typical of well, I mean, we saw pretty much the same incident earlier. Baker just lost all of his front grip due to the aero disturbance. And you'll see for Ethan Cale's car, it practically turns into a grenade when it starts flipping over like that. I saw wheels flying to the sky.
Massive accident there with Ethan Cale literally shot into orbit there, Reese, like you mentioned.
Yeah, that is a crazy crash and a real shame that it ends that way for Ethan Cale.
And Baker there.
Yeah.
Both of those are tangled up there, so not ideal either. Wow. We'd had a
Baker should still have his fast repair, though.
We had a good, clean run of green flag racing there, ladies and gentlemen. And the mid-pack's been hectic, but that's straight off the back end of the top pack there. I think they were running in third and fourth, the boys, Baker and Cale. So I agree with J-Man. I think they were distracted by, I think it was Anna's car. Was it Anna coming out of the pit lane?
It was Anna.
The Clement car, yeah.
The move was already on. They were committed. The move was already on, and I think it does come back down to the amount of aero or lack of aero in the wash coming down there through the turn, and that was the byproduct. However, for me, Robert Northway has come out of this up on top, and perfect timing for him. He was still, I think, at that point looking to go to the front, and the guys were coming in with pace. It probably didn't need to be that urgent. They were up to rolling pace. Anna was building speed, and look, has come out of it the benefactor actually by way of those guys having that incident. And fresher fuel, probably fresh tyres at just over the halfway mark. Yourself in a great position to just lean that car out right now and just look after those tyres. As Reese mentioned, the temperature right up there now, so man, a little bit to unpack.
Yeah, Anna can go longer than anyone in the top 6 at the moment, pitting as late as she did. Cam James, Matt Priest, Hadley Boyce and Brent Henderson have only just emerged from pit lane themselves at the back end of the top 10 or thereabouts. So they will have the distance advantage. They'll have a little bit more margin to play with for the next few pit stops. In fact, it will be only 6 laps or so before we are basically at 3 full green flag stints to the end.
Yep.
So there'll be no surprise to see the drivers running super lean on their fuel mixture at the moment. They're just trundling around, saving as much fuel as they can behind the pace car. And, well, assuming another caution doesn't come out, this should buy them an extra 3 or 4 laps. Northway was already out of the pits for about 7 or 8 laps when the caution came out. So that will allow him probably a 35 lap stint or thereabouts. At least that's what he'll be gunning for. But Anna Klemic will be able to extend her stint even further. Julian Kleinbersink is roughly in the same boat as Northway as well. Fortunate.
Once again, Hadley Boyce just quietly achieving throughout this race.
Yeah, it's been a consistent one from Hadley Boyce. Also for Ants Green, who, don't forget, was one of the first cars to actually get involved in a major crash towards the start of the race. He's really turned it around, currently sitting 7th.
Yeah, great job for Ants.
Well, Ewan Baker, we've reviewed from quite a few angles now that incident that brought out the caution involving Baker. He's managed to make it back out of pit lane, currently sits in 17th place. And that is off the lead lap, but only by 1 lap. So there is a lot of potential for him to get his lap back here. There's still quite a ways to go in the race, but it's going to be a tough job for Baker to execute.
Yeah, it's a fantastic effort, though, to still see him at this point in time. Still a lot of running left to go, but pretty hard road. A lot of work to go ahead of him.
Absolutely. Sender just asking where the link for the viewer favourite driver vote is. Can we...
I tried to copy and paste the one that Plucky sent, but I'm not sure if that worked, Davo. You might have to sort that out your end.
It should be pinned to the top of the YouTube chat.
Okay.
I see it right up there.
Okay.
Oh, there you
Of course, Matthew Pluck, I believe, behind the scenes at NZSRTV, manning the YouTube chat.
Yes. He's a legend.
Yeah, Matthew Pluck's done a lot for the sim racing scene in New Zealand in recent years. Been a pleasure to be involved with his crew's exploits over the last couple of seasons.
Always.
Yeah. Absolute legend. And here we
flag,
go.
Green flag.
Bit spaced out at the front.
Yeah, so...
Clemic and Climbersink, there's miles between them.
Yeah, and Harding not too pleased with that either.
Yeah, so very, well, orderly, but a little bit ordinary as well. Start there as the light went green. No fighting. Plenty of space between the cars, like Reese just mentioned. All the way down Stevens, Harding, Dilworth, well back, and then Green even further. Cam Jones in amongst some out of position cars there. He's got a little bit of work to do in front of him. That's Priest not too far back. Boyce, Henderson, and Rob as well, just in with another of the out of position car. So plenty of care taken.
Clemic is steaming up to the back of Robert Northway right now. She's picked up the slipstream and she is going for it down the start-finish straight. Good amount of speed as they're just touching 362 or thereabouts on the way into turn 1. Kleinbersink making up the gap as well. Dan Stevens staying right with them. There's some minor variances on strategy here in the top 5.
So those gaps we were just mentioning on the green flag for the lights going green there have crunched somewhat. Now the top 4 could pretty well throw a blanket over them. Stevens gets it done, Reese. Oh, very tight.
Not quite.
It's not over yet.
It's not done yet, and I got to start breathing again because I held my breath for a second there.
You're just hoping at that point that the front end has the grip that it needs. Luke Dilworth then gets involved, but backs out, I think very wisely, before the entry to turn 3.
He must be careful though. He got right off the throttle there, Reese, and Harding very close behind him there. We've seen it already today. Oh,
here we go again.
Here we go.
Oh,
look
at
at
the slingshot there.
3. Stevens goes to the lead from 4th to 1st.
That was phenomenal.
Wow.
It almost looked like the front cars had lifted there.
It was touching 368 kilometers per hour on the way into turn 1 was Stevens. And I think he just turned up the fuel dial. Said, all right, I'm going to make a move for the front and use a bit more fuel on the way. He's one of the cars that's actually further into the stint than others in the top 7. So potentially he's just trying to go for track position at this point.
Absolutely. And we're just bringing up some of the top speed they're showing now. And yeah, very, very quick there. As he's
starting to drive away from them.
He is absolutely driving away from them.
Pull rich for Dan Stevens on the controls at the moment. I think, guys, he is really going with it. However, Northway looking to go with him.
Getting good runs out of the corners is Stevens, but Northway picks up the slipstream at the exits. It looks like there'll be a trade back here between these two long-time competitors who have raced wheel to wheel for many years now. Northway then back to the lead with 88 laps remaining in this race.
And maybe a chance for these boys just to work together for a moment. A little bit of a gain on the rest of the field there. Clemic not that far behind. He's coming. He's coming for him too.
Seems to be hanging back slightly though on the way into turn 1. I think she's just biding her time at the moment. Anna knows that she has the biggest fuel advantage in the top 7 at the moment. The real threats to her come from just outside that top 7. Cam James, Hadley Boyce, Matt Priest and Brent Henderson, which also happen to be the last cars on the lead lap. We've only got 11 cars on the lead lap here past the halfway point. It's really been a race of attrition.
Too true.
No less intensity from 11 back though, guys. I'm just watching this battle at the moment between Kale Stables
and Baker. Baker.
Yeah, they are really going for it. You know that the intent there is for those guys to try and forward think a little further.
Absolutely, as we just saw Baker clip the rear tyre on the wall.
Yep.
On the exit of 2. And look, remembering, and Kale and Baker actually coming together, I think, was the cause of the last safety car.
Oh.
So,
sorry, I know that the YouTube feed is a little delayed, but I just glanced over it to see Baker catching the end of the safer barrier. That is, this is tight stuff. Remember, these guys are battling just 1 lap off the lead lap. They'll be banking on a caution. They'll hope that a caution comes out near the end of the stint so that they can get a lap back and then get their pit stop out of the way back onto the lead lap.
absolutely, as Baker sneaks on through. And who is that behind him?
That's Luke Robb.
That is Rob, is it?
Yeah. It was a nice pass too.
It's not Rob.
No,
it's one of the out of position car there.
There's a tag on the wall for that car. Who is that?
It's Priest.
Purple car?
It's
Matt Priest.
Yeah.
Ninth place.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're on different laps at the moment, those guys.
Yeah, so
They
Priest, look, although he didn't step aside and let those boys go, that really wasn't his fight. And so really just didn't want to get involved with those 2 boys, fighting it out in Ethan Cale and Ewan Baker with Priest, you know, like you were just saying, inside the top 10, running in 9th position at the moment. That is Boyce right behind him, and then Brent Henderson a little bit further back in some traffic. All the action still going on up the top in Northway. Stevens, Clemic running 1, 2, 3. Yep.
Race control just updating us there. Penalty issued to Ewan Baker at the next safety car for contact with Ethan Cale.
Okay.
So unfortunately, that's going to halter the progress for Baker as well. So,
Yeah, not ideal.
No, it makes a long day just that little bit longer.
Still possible to make a recovery from that, but Ewan will need a lot of things to go his way. Change for the lead again. Dan Stevens back to the front, and the pack is continuing to compress behind Kleinbersing, Dilworth, Harding, and Anthony Green. Really closing up through those opening corners, but it looks like it's just a case of holding station for the leaders at the moment. That being said, Kleinbersing taking full advantage of the slipstream to get within a few car lengths of Klemek.
Yeah, very much so, and it's just the ebb and flow of the stints at the moment. Really, really interesting, and you talk about that there with Kleinbersing, Dilworth, Harding, and Ant Screen. We mentioned, you know, fought back from adversity. Cam James had a share of the lead of the race earlier. Matt Priest previously just mentioned that he was having to deal with cars that lap down off the race, off his current leader. However, those guys here very much in touch with this battle at the front now.
Hadley Boyce, I've just noticed, with a mechanical black flag. Yeah, so he's obviously made some pretty heavy contact with the wall somewhere, or maybe just light contact that has really broken something significant. Usually, you have 3 laps or so to serve a black flag, be it for a penalty or for the meatball flag, as we call it, the orange circle in the center, which is, if you're unfamiliar with racing flags, that means that the car is considered too damaged to continue and has to come into pit lane to get damage repaired. But Hadley Boyce is sticking with it.
Yeah, but that flag just looks like it's... Has that got away?
Yeah, race control is clearing them, because there is a provision in the rules, actually, for this event, that if you get a mechanical black flag, but your car is otherwise driving fine, race control will clear that black flag for you so that you can continue on.
Yeah, 40.8 last lap round for Boyce. He's still within touch of Priest and a few of the guys in front of him. A little bit down on speed, however, he's still circulating quite nicely, so it's good to see. A little bit of shuffling at the top too. Dan Stevens, Rob Northway trading positions every other lap. However, Anna Klemek, who picked up on it, Reese, looks pretty happy with the fuel advantage. Just to sit in here, possibly a little leaner on the fuel than the boys in front maybe, and just sit in the draft and just make the most of that. And certainly I think Anna's looking a lot further down the track here, and this is working out quite nicely for her.
Yeah, I agree. Anna's playing this really well right now, extending that fuel advantage as Stevens and Northway try to tandem draft as best they can. What we're really looking for in terms of a critical lap is lap 170 or thereabouts, maybe even lap 165 if you're banking on a caution in the final stint. So the drivers are just trying to work their way towards that. Northway with 28 laps done on that stint. Now has, I would say, about maybe 6 or 7 laps worth of fuel left in his car.
And
I believe he was very rich early, wasn't he, guys? You know, we saw the run there, and he was very rich earlier. Was that Dan Stevens maybe wound the wick up? But, you know, every time they do that, that certainly shortens the lane, as we see Northway down to the lane now.
Right, so he's decided to go for it early. 76 laps remaining when he entered the pits, and you can split that into 2 36 lap stints, and that's banking on a caution though. If that doesn't happen, Northway's going to have to do a splash and dash.
Yeah. So hits the jacks very tidily there, actually. Does Northway.
Tidy 9 seconds on the box as well, so it's a good stop, and all going well. You know, he needs a fair bit of the racing gods to maybe back him on this call. If Reese has picked it up correctly, I reckon it's you know, he's locked himself in to a strategy now for the back end.
Yeah, could have afforded to extend it a few more laps and try to get his final stop closer to that critical lap, but Northway obviously has a bit more information available to him than we do, so we will see if that works out for him. It just leaves Stevens, Klemek and Kleinbersink your top three for the moment, with Dilworth, Harding and Green still chasing them. And Northway, for his troubles, you know, having a think about that, about the pit stop time, it was 9 seconds, and obviously he pitted before the car had fully run out of fuel, so he didn't have to spend as long in the lane getting it filled back up. He has crucially been able to stay on the lead lap, which doesn't always happen when you pit under green.
But do you think maybe inside the next one that provides a potential undercut from the short fill?
Yeah, maybe. We'll obviously be waiting to see what goes on. 32 laps done for Ants Green, and he's made his way into pit lane. He's been going for those super long stints pretty much all race, and it's worked out well for him. Under 10 seconds in the box, and he should come out roughly level with Northway.
Yep.
Northway through.
Okay, so a few seconds behind.
Yeah. But a good fight back from Ants Green. Obviously, we mentioned we saw him in the trouble very, very early in the piece. Was one of the first ones to be in a bit of strife at the start of this one, and has really just ground away to get himself back into a good position there. So we'll see a lot of cars in between himself and Robert Northway at the moment. However, a lap down, so just gives himself a bit of traffic to contend with, but at the advantage of maybe picking up some toe.
Northway looks to have about 16 seconds back to the next car, so a slight disadvantage for Northway in that he's going to have to run his fuel mixture full rich in order to keep the speed up. But as the pit cycle continues, he'll obviously come into contact with other cars, and we'll be able to slipstream off them, dial it back slightly, and make up for that slight disadvantage.
Do you think maybe the potential of seeing Julian Cloverson and maybe even Cam James and co coming in shortly could be, as I speak, actually I think that is Julian to the lane, which could play into the favour of Rob Northway as well, just to have a bit of assistance in this run back through now as well. We talked about potential shorter fill by coming in earlier, by a bit of track position. However, I think he needs a little help in this strategy as well.
Northway, definitely, I think. Probably still a bit short on fuel without a couple of cautions at least, so...
just help as well. We saw what he did with Dan Stevens with him as well, and they worked incredibly well together. There's Dan Stevens now to the lane, so I think this is kind of, to a degree, this is kind of what I think Robert Northway needed. He needs some help, just, I think, on the fuel number as well, guys. I just think to run rich on your own is, without a safety car, it's going to really compound his strategy.
New set of tyres for Dan Stevens. Perfectly sensible decision to make in these circumstances, and it's a reasonably quick stop for Stevens, 10 seconds. Northway is going to move past him with that slight undercut that he has. Once Stevens gets up to speed, remains to be seen if he and Northway will come together and start working together again.
Yeah, you can see it there, a better part of maybe half the straight, or a quarter of the straight, sorry, I think, between the two. The car in between them as well. Interested seeing that Julian Klobuchar as well, very, very close with Dan Stevens. So those two definitely going to work together to try and just keep that strategy going. And I got to say, I kind of like the look of Stevens and Julian's strategy, just a touch better based on the time they come in. You certainly mentioned it, Reese, that I think if Northways was a couple laps later, it would have just been that much safer, and that was kind of where Julian and Anna are on as well. So don't count out Anna here. She is completely, I think, the one that's on maybe the option A strategy, you could call it, just a lot safer on fuel at the moment. But a longer time to stop, as you mentioned, than the likes of Northway.
Brent Henderson on his way into pit lane as well. Looks like Bryce Harding just completing his pit stop. Some good long stints from the majority of the drivers up the top. Dilworth and Priest the next to come in.
Anna Clement just, sorry Reese, Anna Clement just got a nice little hand here with one of the back markers just to really help that momentum, tucking in the toe and just keeping that momentum up.
Yeah, indeed. When does Clemic decide to come in? She's on her 35th lap at the moment.
That is a long run. That's a good run under these conditions.
Into turn 4, we'll see if she sticks to the left on the way out. She does. Into the pit lane comes our race leader.
So whereas the 46 car is effectively coming down to turn 3.
Hadley Boyce picking up a black flag as well. I think he might have sped on the way into the pits. Clemic is in, and it looks like Ewan Baker has jumped in on the same lap as well. Baker trying to get his lap back. And Clemic out of pit lane with 9.7 second stop. That's going to leave Northway in the lead, but with 12 laps to pay the debt for. Yeah, Clemic is the best placed on strategy right now. 64 laps to go. I think as long as she picks up the slipstream, runs lean, she could very easily make it just one stop to the end.
Yeah, I agree totally. Not a bad position to be in. And got Dan Stevens and co up the road. If she could get there, get in touch, and then just sit there, back out of it, preserve that fuel through this stint, and then have a lot more potential in the next one. If she needs to richen the car up, be in a great position. Thank you, David.
Right behind Julian Kleinbesink and Dan Stevens, in fact. So this is going to be another further opportunity for Clemic to save fuel, maybe make her final pit stop even later with a shorter fill in the end. This is all working out pretty well for car 715 at the moment.
Maybe a little bit of an onboard read there, Davo, with what you got, and see if we can't pick up and just see. I mean, obviously, you'll be able to tell whether the attacking position for Anna, but whether or not she rolls out of this thing a little early at the moment.
Well, she's up behind Stevens now, so she can back off on the fuel mixture. Looks like that's exactly what she's doing.
Yeah,
she drafts up to Stevens and then just stops gaining on him. So, playing a long game, waiting. That's often what brings you success at Indianapolis.
Yeah, big lifts, big gains in the fuel department there for Anna, and staying well in touch with these two. It's Northway with a good margin at the moment, obviously on a different strategy here. So we really have a tale of a couple of different strategies to play out here, and you know, the green flag running is going to be a big part of the deciding factor going forward. Lap 141 of 200. It is not set in concrete by any stretch. However, there's a clear couple of paths to the destination right now. Anna Clement is probably the most obvious and the safer of the option. Great position. However, Northway really out there, just back at himself. Just a lot of clear air running, Reese, and that worries me for the fuel mix, the strategy that he's on.
Yeah, Northway is able to set faster times than everyone behind him. He just did a 40.68, but he will be burning through that fuel a little faster. From this point, you can easily make it just one stop to the end, even if you're running at full rich on your own the whole way. But Northway's already put 17 laps on that car, so he will owe us a half stint fill.
Yeah. You can see the gaps there. So around about 6.6 seconds. By Indy standards, it's a fair old margin out there on a different strategy. However, same can't be said for Julian, Dan, and Anna. We talked about it. She's in touch, just sitting there. Literally, I really like what I'm seeing here from these three here. This is a real race with, obviously, Anna doesn't have the track position, but got the stint advantage here at the moment with fuel, and just been able to sit there and be patient. And man, this must take some discipline as a driver just to sit here and do this and play the long game. We talk about racing IQ a fair bit here at Matchfit Entertainment, and this is clearly it on display right now. Patience and intelligence at the forefront with Anna Clement at the moment. Was definitely the fast runner throughout the week, and showing that can make the distance as well on strategy as well. Liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's a thinking person's race, is the Indy 500.
Dilworth tucked in behind with a lot of push that time through 2 and 2.
Yeah, he's done well. And again, another one of the quiet achievers. Hasn't really been in any of the action. He's kept the car clean, kept it off the wall. And here he is running in 5th. And definitely sticking with these guys.
And listening to the throttle trace as well, pretty happy with this distance as well. Just, I mean, whether that's a dose of maybe the car's a little tight on entry there, as he once again was a little tight on 2 and 2. Looks a lot more comfortable through 3, 4.
And I picked up on some rolling out of the throttle from Stevens actually a couple of laps ago there as we ran on board with him. Behind Julian. Yeah, so just easing off, conserving fuel. Once again, we're coming down to what? Just one more stop in this race, and the shorter that is, the better it will be. So, good steady pace from these four at the moment.
Reaching out to Reese here. How far in is Rob Northway on those tyres now, Reese?
22 laps. He's just completed the 22nd lap of the stint.
He has absolutely got the hammer down, hasn't he? He is all about the lap time and the distance between the pack and himself. I mean, he is really just banking the lap times. You can just see the 40.68 last lap through. That gap is now 10 seconds. Clearly playing to a flat-out number at the moment, which is not what we're seeing behind, as we see Anna now trading with Julian going backwards there, guys, I think.
Yep, Clemic and Stevens have both made their way past him.
Yep.
But I think Julian, he spent some time running at the front of that pack and burning through the fuel, so maybe he thought it was time to drop back and save a bit more. Northway's big advantage here is clear air. Yes, there's a couple of cars in front of him, specifically Martin Warren, Ethan Cale, but for the last 10 laps at least, Robert Northway has had no traffic to deal with. He's been able to get the turn in properly for these corners and stay pretty much flat out the whole way round.
Yeah, we just saw there for Julian just after, relinquishing those couple of positions, which could have been premeditated, as you say, Reece. Done a lot of the hard lifting and now wants to tuck in and buy himself some fuel credits. But I tell you what he probably didn't anticipate straight after that was the amount of push underneath Dan Stevens there, and the car drifted probably a little too close to the wall that he would have liked, and maybe take a couple of corners or a lap or so just to find the balance of that car in dirty air again.
Yeah, car balance is affected way more than you think.
Northway in the lane.
Okay, so he's gone short on this one too. He's going for short stints to the end. It'll be roughly 225 lap stints from here for Northway, if he wants to split them evenly.
Yeah, so it's an interesting call. Takes himself completely off the strategy that Anna, Dan, Julian and co are on, and we kind of already knew that, but this is certainly once again incredibly early for what we were predicting. A whole lot more green flag running, guys, much to our delight, but it certainly does get the abacus working for these drivers on the fly.
Indeed it does. Northway with another quick run through the lane there. Comes out in 10th spot, again with barely any traffic to deal with. So he'll keep his lap time advantage, but he is presently 23 seconds behind the leaders and still looking to make it one more stop to the end. It will be a short one though. Clemic, Stevens, Kleinbersink, Dilworth, Harding, James, they're all owed one more stop at least here. At least Clemic is. Stevens, maybe not. Kleinbersink, definitely not. There will likely be an extra pit stop for him unless there's a caution that he can take advantage of. So that's where the strategy sits for everybody right now. Northway only needs to stop once more. So does Clemic.
Yeah, but with that margin, as you mentioned, that's the common denominator is that margin. Is that too much to work with? This is the thing. We know that he's short filling and less time. Short stinting, so less time there. It was a very efficient 7.5 seconds. We know that. As to when he stops the last one, like I mentioned, we've seen so much green flag running. I just wonder right now, is this what he wants, or is there somewhere in here still that he wants a safety car, puts himself back in touch? It wouldn't be right now because he's just cost himself track position at the moment, and that would throw a strategy out. I don't know that he's too phased about it based on her strategy.
Safety car at lap 165 or thereabouts would work out perfectly for Northway, I think.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, good call, Reece. Actually, you're right. Good call.
Well, we'll see what happens. It wasn't the cleanest start to this race. We spent much of the first hour trundling around under caution, but now that we only have 22 cars left circulating, things have definitely cleaned up. Question is, though, for our leaders here, they have a hard-charging Ewan Baker trying to get back onto the lead lap, and it looks like he might do it, but Stevens gets a slightly better run on Klemic that time. So Ewan Baker now just one car away from getting back onto the lead lap. Could that be the way his race turns around?
And so what does the safety car do for Ewan Baker? Puts him well in touch then, doesn't it? I mean, it does. Sooner rather than later, but it certainly plays a Ewan Baker, who we thought for all money was probably out of this thing as far as, you know, any great success. However, he's just ground away at this one, and you're right. The start of this one, I think the sim gods just gave us all a little time to get acquainted, Reese, and now it's down to business.
Oh yes. Yeah, coming up to the final stint of the Simdy 500. About 15 laps away or so from those final pit stops for those who want to pit early.
So Baker unlaps himself there.
Yeah, he does it easily.
Very.
Sets Stevens up there. Took his time. Car has got the pace and gets the job done. Not and tidily.
Baker has a further advantage in that he is only 20 laps into his stint at the moment. Stevens is about to cover the 25th lap of his. So Stevens will definitely have to pit earlier than Baker does. And if anything, I would expect Baker to pit at the same time as Klemic, considering that they're both on the same stint length at the moment. So yeah, Baker's doing all right. Klemic might still be a threat to him, though, to potentially keep him a lap down if we stay green.
If being the appropriate term there, Reese, but look, the driver's putting on a fantastic show down towards the back end of this race here. Some good solid pace. Does the fatigue start to set in? You know, it's pretty constant, high speed, the slightest of mistakes, a little bit of lap traffic. Anything could happen.
Northway still lapping, guys, still lapping very, very quickly at the moment. So just take that into consideration over the span of this next two sessions, the next two stints. That car has been let loose, and he is considerably faster than everybody in front of him, like considerably. I mean, it wouldn't be unfair to me to say that he is making over a second on these guys. So just consider that with his plan. I mean, the question's just been asked, who has the right strategy? And look, I'm going to lean to Reese, our resident man of knowledge and tactical prowess. Who would you rather be right now, Reese? Would you rather be Anna Danica, or would you rather be Rob Northway?
I think Anna Klemic is in the best position right now. Like, if Baker wasn't so far behind, I would expect that he'd be in a great position as well. But there's still a few question marks over whether or not Baker can stay on the lead lap at his final pit stop. Northway, for his benefit, has been getting slipstream off of lap traffic, and he has been setting some blistering times in the low 40-second range. So he's getting track position, he's making it up, but I still think he's the one at the disadvantage.
Yeah, and obviously I guess the caveats that the safety car is the one that can really shake this thing up, should we see one. I mean, I hated saying it just then because we've had such a good run, compared to the start of this race. However, the intensity is going to ramp up with the closing stages as we embark on the final 40 or just under, guys.
I'll tell you what, the mid-pack is anything to go by. It wouldn't surprise me if we get another safety. It is on.
It is pretty busy.
It's pretty busy right there. I think we got
Holland and Co. Yeah.
those
it
on
is-
Ant Green side by side. Only a couple of rows back. They're side by side there as well into 3 and 4. So plenty of heat still in that race. Who's that sneaker? A couple of
Zekas down to the lane.
Yeah, so
Oh,
Julian.
and Kleinbersink's in too.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so that feels a little early, to be fair.
Yeah, 31 laps done on that stint for Julian with still 39 laps remaining in the race. There is no way that you're going to be able to make 39 laps on a green flag run. He will be banking on one more caution here. But could he have stretched it out a couple extra laps? I honestly don't think it would have made much difference, regardless of the fuel usage for Julian Kleinbersink. He would have had more laps left than he needed.
Is that that looks to be very much a roll the dice situation? You know, banking on one more caution and buying them. But it's a big caution too. That's a big cleanup to be asking for that 31. And then he's asking, how many laps did you say? What are we looking at? 37?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a step too far, isn't it?
Yeah. And it wouldn't have mattered if Kleinbersink was able to stretch it out to 35 laps or so. You'd still have about 33, 34 laps left with that. So
As we see,
Julian may have fallen out of the order.
yeah, Clemic and Baker, of all people, working together there for the last handful of laps. And again, it shows when these drivers start working together like this. And they have Clemic as Gap, Stevens and Dilworth there. So that,
Remember, different laps, but same strategy for Baker and Klemic. They'll be pitting at roughly the same time as each
Yeah.
other.
remembering Baker, oh, as he just tags a wall off the rear. Wow. A puff of smoke. Can't tell me they're not trying, but yeah, Baker, we a lap down as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was.
Yes. Yeah, he's a lap down. So,
I also noticed a few moments ago, Robert Northway at turn 3, he went a bit low, caught the curb and had a micro slide. So he's continuing to push hard, but potentially running the ragged edge a bit too much is the number 46.
Yeah, alters the progress, doesn't it, on what was a very, very good job up to date. Currently around about, what is he? He is around, I think by my calculations, just under 9 seconds away from the lead of this race, but like we mentioned, completely off strategy with Anna. And in the recent past, we did see Dan Stevens down to the lane. And not sure if I'm trusting my data at this point, Reese, but that stop was very efficient.
Yeah, looks like it looks like it was. 9.8 seconds by my timing for Ewan Baker in the pit lane.
Yep. What was Dan's time, Reese?
Dan Stevens, 10 seconds. So, yeah, roughly the same. But Baker was half a second faster through the lane overall. Track temperature has gone up 42 Celsius at the moment, which is going to be roasting those tires. That's worth thinking about too. Northway now has traffic.
Yeah, he's in the thick of it right now.
This is not going to be ideal for him. I've noticed, been following along with Northway on my end. He's been running a little higher in the turns just to preserve that tire temperature. It just seems like he's having a lot of trouble keeping the front end in check now.
yeah, having to run low there into one there as well, Reese, I noticed. Wasn't ideal for his pace there. The boys really ranged up behind him, but
yeah, and it's the first time in the recent past I've been monitoring the times that Northway slower through than Anna. That time through 41.1 plays a 41.5. So just bear that in mind. All that great progress, you know, the rich fuel running and clear air just really compromised in that time through. So it goes against, I guess, the strategy that he's running at the moment. We know that he looks to be pretty full rich and using that track position. And I don't know whether it was a little bit of luck or good management, but he has managed to get that car out the last couple of times in so much fresh air.
oh, Clemic to the pit lane, boys.
Yep.
Here we go. This is the big answer that we've been waiting for. 33 laps done on that stint, 31 to go as Clemic
Safe.
crosses the line. Yep, she is 100% safe.
And 9.8 on the box, nice and tidy, very efficient. I think, is that what I'm looking at? Sorry, she's on the box now. Or
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
else.
Yep. Yeah, we've got the live countdown timer on. The
10-1. So very similar to, I think it was Stevens. I think you called Reese as well. He's very similar time on the blocks. It's a bit tight.
And it will. Anna, on strategy, is really racing against Luke Dilworth and Bryce Harding, who came into the pits 2 laps ago. And she's right with them now.
But as you mentioned, still with the advantage, has the luxury of maybe in the latter phase, just going a little richer, not having to be as considerate on that fuel load. We know how much pace, 1 lap pace the car's got. She proved it during the week in the qualifying sessions, plus the fast 12. The car at the hands of Anna is very, very fast. If she needs the pace, I believe it's still there.
she's
And the cut
struggled.
underneath some lap traffic here of Logan Howard. Tyres are still fresh, still coming up to temperature. Of course, Indycars don't use tyre warmers. The tyres are at ambient temperature when they're fitted onto the car. So combine that with the hot track temperature, and Anna has been able to deal with that pretty well.
A lot of faith in it.
Quite a bit. She's managed to clear the lap traffic for the moment and is now trying to jet up to the back of Dan Stevens, who pitted 7 laps ago. Probably hoping for a caution is Mr. Stevens.
Oh, no doubt.
And
Anna.
what was the transit time total for Anna? Recently late, stop.
42.3.
Yeah, and look, only got
Stevens was
around
40,
about
41.5.
28 seconds up to Rob Northway, still having to make a stop. So Reese called it in a prime position here at the moment. Obviously taking Dilworth, and who was the other one? Was it Stevens
Harding.
and Harding? Sorry, Dilworth and Harding. Yeah, great
look.
option.
And we got Northway coming up on this slot here. Priest, and whoever that is just tucked in behind him there. And these guys are going hard at it. Here comes Northway. Robert gets himself in between the
Is
two.
that Zekas as
That
well?
is Zekas actually, J-Man.
Yeah.
It's a very awkward position for the leader to be in there.
Yeah, the gap just keeps coming down.
Yeah, it is coming down. You're correct.
But Northway has to commit to running the full stint here. He wants his car as light as possible when he comes out of the pits. If a caution comes out, great. He'll be able to take advantage of that. But really, he's just looking to stay in the top 6 at the moment.
We've been set up here for an absolute specky finish. Be spectacular at the end.
Priest goes past. Zekas again. These guys trading positions. We mentioned the leader of the race, just...
Not got it all his own way as well. He's got lots of pressure on the inside still.
Matthew's getting back underneath him.
Yeah, he did.
So Kyle was well in that little battle with Priest and Zekas there earlier. Interrupted by Northway just sneaking into that party, uninvited. And Northway struggling to find the door out of that party, by the looks of it as well. With Matthews, so like you guys just mentioned, staying well in touch with the KSR car there.
So 24 laps remain. And Anna Klemic moving past Cam James, and now Anna Klemic will be your effective race leader. I'm thinking at this point it's unlikely she's going to lose it.
And drop the lap time as well too, Reese, you know, at the time when she feels comfortable.
Northway into the pits, boys.
Yep. So really just no other option for Robert Northway to stick to the strategy here, and I just think maybe the safety cars didn't come when he was maybe hoping for, and that is going to really just suit Anna Klemic's strategy to a T. Cam James still thereabouts actually, so it's not a done deal by any stretch. How is he for fuel? Oh, he's a few way off on this one. Like you mentioned, it's actually due with departing, and they're a bit back from that, so.
So Robert Northway comes out in 8th spot, will fall to 9th if Brett Henderson gets past him, which is likely he will. Blasting past, Northway trying to move up the track, but cannot get back onto the line. Has to give it up to Brent Henderson. Is going to get it straight back, though, on the nice, cool, fresh tyres. So, staying in 8th spot. He's good to the end. But he's got 10 seconds up to Cam James and Anna Klemic. Well, Anna Klemic by herself in particular. Cam James will definitely have to come into the pits again before the race concludes. But yeah, 10 seconds to make up for Northway, and less than a full green flag stint at Full Rich remaining. I would expect Northway to try and repeat what he did before and just go hell for leather.
Well, you know, just looking at the maths too, Reese and Davo, you know, we saw earlier on while Anna was still managing effectively that strategy, you know, it wasn't uncommon for Rob Northway to be a lap quicker than these guys as well. So if he can repeat that and Anna ends up in that situation, which I don't think is likely now, I think she's so safe on fuel that I just don't think we'll see those sort of 41.3s, which she's already doing 41.0s at the moment. But if she drops into the low 41s and he can repeat those 40.3s, 40.2s, you know, given that there's 20 laps remaining in this one, we could still have a race on our hand, and we know that he's well safe on fuel now to run it pretty hot. So a lot will play into this. Traffic, potential for safety cars late in the piece. This isn't done, although, yeah, right now Anna looks to have a handle on this thing.
But look at Northway's pace. He just set a 40.1. Yep. Klemic behind Cam James could only manage a 40.9. Robert Northway making up nearly a second on that lap alone. I don't think he's out of it.
No, multiply that by 19 times. I reckon we've got a real fight on the hands here. So much to our pleasure, and I'm sure the viewers as well. Buckle up, because the last 19 laps, I think it's going to get pretty busy.
So Northway going for the fresh tyre, Full Rich sprint strategy in the last half of this race. Anna Klemic taking things a little slower, going for a bit more of an endurance mindset. Both methods can work around here. but you've got to make sure that everything falls your way. It's falling Northway's way. He's got so much clear air ahead.
He does. It's helping him with his forward momentum, though, isn't it? He really doesn't have anything in his road. No one to fight with.
Well, it's interesting because, you know, I was listening to Reese talking before and watching Rob Northway as well. We saw him when he was dealing with a little bit of traffic and that, and I don't think the car's entirely comfortable in the traffic. I think Anna's not so bad. We've seen her run really close to Cam and other cars throughout the stint, and I just feel like maybe the Jackers and the anti-roll where she's at with that car is quite compliant in traffic. However, Northway's not so much. He's really got that thing set up for fresh air.
The rate at which Northway is catching Klemek is stalled ever so slightly, but he's still running faster than everyone ahead of him right now.
So just under half a second that last one, around about. And needs those big chunks at some point, doesn't he, guys? He really needs to make those 1 second gains per lap for this to count. And these drivers will be acutely aware of the number. I mean, already at this phase of the race, you could bet that Anna knows who she's racing, and also Rob Northway will have a big target on where he wants to get to by lap 200, and I reckon the car's got a 715 on it for sure. He won't be factoring anybody in between at this point.
So really the big battles now, or cars close to each other, Cam James and Anna Klemek. Ewan Baker, having made his final pit stop the lap before Klemek did, back on the lead lap and in 10th place, but it seems like Baker's just struggling to get that extra pace out of the car. Teammate, of course, to Robert Northway, so they would have been collaborating on the setup, but it just seems like Baker isn't quite getting the pace he needs to move further into the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunate for Baker. Oh, Baker just touching the wall there again in between 1 and 2. They're quite a heavy brush on the wall, actually. I suppose not heavy, but for an extended period of time there. But unfortunate for Baker there. I think he is the one got caught up with Ethan Cale a little bit earlier in the race, and because the car's clearly got some pace and easily able to run with these guys at the top. So tough luck for both of those boys.
Yeah. Now, you called it at the commencement after the last stops. I think Northway was close to 10 seconds, Reese, off the back of the lead of the race, somewhere between 8 and 10. That's now 5.7, so we can see the work's been done. 40.3 last round, plays a 40.9 for Anna Klemek. So still doing the good work out there at the moment, and lapping very, very consistently, watching his personal doubters at the moment. He is fully locked in and got a little bit of, obviously, you know, the more this goes on, he's got some passing to do.
James in the pits, Cam James.
Yeah, so we expected him to be one of the next to come in. I think Julian Klombasink might come in the lap later or so. Yeah, Northway nice. Making his way past Bryce Harding.
Yeah, he did a nice job there too. I really don't feel like they compromised the run. The lap time generally won't tell any lies. 40.5. There's a 41.0, so another net gain. So we can see that time dropping 5.4. So he is racing the laps and the clock. Needs to keep pressing on. Needs everything to align here to be able to make this work. I think we know Dan Stevens. Is Dan sensitive on fuel?
Northway past Dilworth as
Northway's
well.
Gotten past Dilworth
immediately.
As well, indeed. Yep, and they're on roughly the same strategy, Dilworth and Harding, as Anna Klemek. So Northway's going to continue that run there. Stevens currently on his 25th lap. if he stretched it, if he really, really stretched it, maybe he could make it to the end without pitting again, but I don't expect he will.
Anna just upping the pace a little bit. Last lap round, be interesting to see. 40.7. Interesting to see. 40.3 for Northway.
Northway's passing these cars in their standing still.
He is a man on a mission right now.
Northway past Julian there.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Reese, Julian had nothing for him. Sneaks past that out of position car there. Quick, smart. He didn't want anything to do with that. Oh, Harding
from Bryce Harding as well.
Wow. This guy is pushing extremely hard.
Yeah, this is getting intense now. We're within 10 laps to go, and Logan Howard becomes the next car. Find his way into the pits. Cars off the lead lap making their final stops right now. Alex Zikas making his way in for his final stop as well. But Northway up to third, and the gap to Anna Klemek's still about 5 seconds or so. He needs to be gaining half a second a lap in order to be on it.
There you have it. That's the number. He needs a half a second. Anna, 40.7. Northway, what does he come across with? He's a 40.7 as well.
Yes, actually. There was only 6 thousandths of a second between the lap times there.
Yeah, to the favour of Anna.
Oh, yeah, crazy, isn't it? Julian in the pits there, Kleinbussen. In the pit lane now. Here you go.
Harding still with a lot of pressure from Dilworth as well. So it's still going on. You can't forget about, I mean, you know, to make a top 10 here would be an accolade in my books.
Yeah, and coincidentally, almost everybody in the top 10 are the only cars still left on the lead lap.
On the lead,
quite an achievement indeed.
Priest in the lane.
Dan Stevens has dropped off the back of Anna Klemek in the meantime, sitting about 2 seconds behind and still potentially expecting a pit stop from him.
So 40.6 for Anna that time through. And a 40.0 for Northway. So he makes a half a second there. Talked about half a second. Reese, Davo, that's the first part of the puzzle. He needs to press on with its 4.8 with only 6 to go. Laps aren't in his favour now.
Yeah, I think Northway might have run out of time at this point. 6 laps to go, and the gap's still sitting at 4.8. He's going to need a miracle if he wants to catch up to Klemek from here. Needs to rely on some help from the drivers behind.
Stevens in for clearly his last stop there as well. Puts Northway and can, like you mentioned, Reese, just too far away here.
He loves fresh air there, though, and he's got plenty of it now, so...
So Julian Kleinbussink coming out just behind Anna Klemek there and could still potentially finish on the lead lap. Ewan Baker coming in for one more stop there with 30 laps complete. So his run is potentially going to come to an end from here. Not much else he could do to extend that final stint. Gap now 4.6 between Klemek and Northway.
And Klemek just allow it. I think it's Julian to sneak past as well. Maybe just trade a little bit of air between those two cars, but
yeah, drop the margin down a bit, but she'll have the benefit of the draft now, so it helps it down the straight. She'll know that Julian's got fresh tyres. His lap times will be very, very good. And fresh air. Well, we presume he's got fresh tyres. 41.2 plays a 40.6, so that's a big swing.
Yeah, Clemic will be dealing with some aero wash now behind Julian, which I think is probably going to hurt her lap time more than the draft will benefit it.
Yep.
Northway on some lap traffic there.
It's under 4 seconds, the gap at the line. 41.2 for Clemic, 40.5 for Northway.
Couple to go. It's just going to be a little too late.
I think so.
Great effort, though. Northway back to strategy very, very early.
Yeah, it's only a little over 3 seconds separate the two. But with time pretty much run out. Looks like Clemic's going to bring it home here, boys. What a race.
Goes back past Kleinbesink. She's looking for that clear air to try and erase the disadvantage she had running behind him. That gap was coming down quite substantially for Northway, and it is still coming down now, halfway around the penultimate lap, coming up to about 3 seconds. Is it possible for Northway to get within that magic 1.5 seconds to get the slipstream? I think if the race was a lap or two longer, maybe he could be able to do it, but it's looking unlikely at this stage.
Anna with an absolute masterclass strategy, and I mentioned that Northway backed his early, so did Anna as well, and had to fight back from adversity early herself, and Mia having issues. Obviously Anna managing to work that out as we do embark on the final lap. Team, what a fantastic performance from these drivers and yourselves, guys.
Coming through turn 4, Anna Clemic enjoys a gap of 2.9 seconds over Robert Northway, and that's going to be checkered for the Simdy 500 for 2026. Anna Clemic winning from pole, but she had to take quite a circuitous route to get there.
Yes, over Robert Northway in second, Bryce Harding in third. Dilworth comes across the line in fourth, Cam Jones through in fifth.
Yep.
Dan Stevens in sixth. Julian Kleinbesink in seventh. Ant Green in eighth. And Brent Henderson ninth. Matt Priest running at the top 10 there. So nice work there for Priest.
And ultimately, we had 6 cars finishing on the lead lap at the end of that. It was quite the brutal race, especially early on. But honestly, I'm amazed that we got the green flag runs that we did by the second half of the race. It just flew by.
I can tell you this much for free, Reese. We are around about an hour and a quarter to potentially an hour and a half ahead of schedule to where we were looking. We all appreciate, the way these things play out. However, very much didn't pick that. How much green? I mean, did we have 100 laps of green flag running over in the end? I think we did. I feel like we did.
Yeah, that back end of the race. Yeah, very good disciplined stuff from all involved there at the end. After what was a very hectic, it's probably first quarter or third of the race. So,
hey, and FYI, Anna Clemic getting a push from Rob Northway after the checkers did not have any more in that thing.
Wow. Yeah, she really pushed that fuel tank. I've just counted it up. It looks like we had 8 cautions over the course of that race, most of them in the first 50 to 70 laps or so. So it was slow going at first, but man, Anna Absolutely nailing the strategy for that. Robert Northway putting in a valiant effort to try and catch her back up with the strategy disadvantage. And, well, all things considered, a trip to the bathroom at a pit stop and still manages to finish second. That's quite impressive.
It's not
That
bad.
is phenomenal. Now, that is phenomenal. Now, look, we do have the team, the podium, making their way.
Oh, excellent.
Actually, as we speak, to the waiting room, which is really, really cool. I saw Anna down there at the moment. Rob Northway was hoping that maybe Bryce Harding was going to jump in. Otherwise, we may reverse it. We may start off with the top spot and then work our way back down the podium. So we'll see how that looks, because obviously live television, we've got to keep the show rolling. And I think based on that, what we're seeing, we will grab the 2026 race winner here for the Simdy 500. Anna Clemmer, have you got us on comms?
Yes, I do. Hello.
Well, first and foremost, congratulations on what was an outstanding week of qualifying, and then to back it up with that fantastic race performance. We applaud you. That was just something to behold you back yourself. We talked about in the comms team, we talked about your strategy versus I think Rob Northways and co. But just look, give us a little insight to your preparation for that one, the early dramas and the way that one unfolded.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal with what happened during like that third stage where on that restart everyone was just slow and I knew that I had to slow down, but the driver behind me just had such vision and just ran up the backside of me to put me on the back foot. But I kind of knew that even though I was on the back foot, I knew I could still play the strategy to my favour. And it was kind of to the point where we got around lap 70, I knew I could get away with doing another 3 stops to the end pretty much. And basically, I think the preparation, this is my Indy 500 in 5 weeks, so I've done the boat to death by now, so I know I am very well equipped on what to do, what are the strategies and such. So yeah, I knew it was going to be a fuel safe race. Basically, I was just planning on hitting my numbers pretty much. And I thought Robert was going to catch up a little faster at the end, but I was able to just have that gap in mind to gap management pretty much, and yeah, just pretty much managing the fuel and got to the end, and yeah, perfect, really good recovery from me today. So yeah.
Nice. And just talk to us quickly about that fuel management, because I did pick up on a little bit of comms chat after the race, Anna, and was it a little tighter than we thought, or was was there maybe some extra celebration burnouts going on? Because I thought I heard a call for push me back.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily I had to save a little bit of fuel, like pretty much I probably had like half a lap crossing the finish line. I ideally wanted to get back to the bricks and have the photo in mind, but yeah, it was pretty much, with those final 10 laps, I knew I just had to, and it also did help that Julian also got front of me, that just saved a little bit of fuel as well, so pretty much just managed the gap in the fuel, and I was quite comfortable with it. It was quite fine. I knew basically it was all the preparations before, with like the stint from 100 to 38, and then 38 to 170 pretty much set me up to do that final stint a little bit more comfortably. So I wasn't too worried because I knew I could hit that number. Like I knew that the max you could do is 35 laps, and I've done that before. So I knew I had fuel. I knew the fuel game.
Yeah, nice. And obviously we had the luxury of having Reese Gardner in the comms box with us tonight with Dave and ourselves.
Hello.
So I'm sure Reese has got a couple of questions for you, Anna.
Honestly, I think you covered it off pretty well, J-Man. I just want to make a comment on the sheer mileage that you've gotten this month, Anna. Obviously, the month of May is always a profitable time for sim racers who are looking to turn left, that preparation has worked out really well for you. I mean, at the end of the day, it'll show that you started on pole and you won from pole, but those numbers far from telling the full story of your event.
Yeah, it was Yeah, I knew that when the caution came out on lap 28. I was in a voice call with Mia today, and I was thinking, we should stay out because I kind of knew the nature, basically the skill spread in this race. Basically, it was quite wide, and I kind of knew it was going to be a caution fest. I think a week ago, I participated in the fastest Indy 500, so it was kind of a complete coin toss to come to this event. It was like really caution heavy during the first half of the race. So, but yeah, I think, thank God for the fast repair. That did come in handy today. So it was a little going, but I knew like, okay, I can still make things work. It's a long race. I know how to make things work towards the end. So yeah, just keep calm and just be disciplined and manage to like be disciplined with the fuel and disciplined with like track position and such, and got the win today.
Well done. Congratulations, Anna. That was just, yeah, really, really great performance, and you know, justified given the, like you just said, the time put in, and you know, just really goes to show if you work hard at it, you can put yourself in the best possible position come race day, and you really proved that today. It looked well dictated towards the back end of that one, and look, we applaud you, and you know, that is a great way to. Well, you know, hopefully finish off the month of May turning left anyway, Anna, for your sake, because yeah, you might need a wheel sponsor if you're doing that many miles. But speaking of sponsors, Anna, we always provide a space at the back end of the broadcast for yourself to shout out your sponsors and your supporters and give them a plug, as I'm sure there's plenty of people to thank.
Yeah, oh god, I have to go for my whole Indycar spiel now. Yes, so shout out to Taylor Mills Racing, the team I am. Shout out to the Voda Racing team, which is American team, which are like very strong in like Indy Oval Fixed and all Indy stuff as well. Shout out to Shane Coker, who runs the Votive IndyCar League. Basically, that's on a Monday. Currently, I'm in the lead of that championship at the moment. Basically an insane league where we have 40 cars and the softs are like up 4K plus, so I get lots of experience against some of the top competition in the IndyCar field. So yeah, so shout out to Shane Coker and all the hard work and great relationships with him. Mum, Dad, my brother, my boyfriend Trent, who are friends in the IndyCar community, VTubing friends. I do a little bit of Twitch streaming from time to time. The VTuber friends, racing friends I have as well. So yeah, and also shout out to Mia today. Yeah, me and Mia have been working at this event, and to get Mia on P2 this week has been very good, although just how the race unfolded for her just was really sucked. So so shout out to Mia and helping out me out as well with the strategy at the end.
Yeah, good call. Absolutely well said, Anna. And once again, the team up here at Matchfit Entertainment applaud you. It was a fantastic performance. Had to fight through a lot of adversity earlier, and still had the knowledge and the speed to come away with the top spot. So well done, Anna. And look, anyone that doesn't know this name already, now you do. So yeah, thank you very much.
No worries, thank you.
Here you go, team. There is your race winner, and I think we'll carry the trend. We've got plenty waiting in the booth, which is good. And I think second one up, Rob Northway, we're going to bring up from P2 tonight. And this is a man that definitely backed the strategy, and it was just a little too short at the end. But my gosh, it was a hell of a performance. Rob, you got us on comms?
How sure do.
Man, fantastic performance today. You've got Davo and Reese Gardner up here in the booth with you as well. And look, I think Reese said it pretty clearly at the start, to run away for a toilet stop and still drive this thing back to challenging for the race win was a fantastic performance. Just give us a little insight to how frantic that was at the start, with obviously all the cautions, having to make a stop, an unscheduled one, and then come back through, mate. Tunnel vision at the end, was it?
Yeah, pretty much. I decided to go full send. It's the more fun strategy. So yeah, could just run wide open, try and make as many passes as I can, and hope I could make it. Hope I could get to Anna, which I didn't quite have the pace to do. But no, it was a great race, and yeah, as it turned out, I had to make that toilet stop. There was no way I was going to make another hour and a half to get to the end anyway.
Yeah, Yeah, and obviously we got the dulcet tones of Reese on board for this one as well, and certainly well learned in these style of races. And Reese, I'm sure you've got something for Rob there.
Yeah, I mean, the full send strategy that you talk about, it was rolling the dice a little bit, though, with the risk of going back in traffic. And with the track temperature creeping up to over 40 Celsius, I noticed that you were sticking to that high line through the corners just to try and keep that clear air running over the front wing, keep the front tires in check. You had a couple of near misses, though. I did spy that little slide you had at turn 3.
Yeah, that was me just trying to get lower than the car ahead because he was running slightly higher. So I thought maybe I could get that left wing into the air, and just got a wee bit too low. I normally try to run the car with that left side below the white line, but I went over onto the curb.
Well, regardless, you managed to bring the gap into within 3 seconds by the end of the race. Was there, can you think about that gap in mind? Was there anything looking back that, you know, if you changed one pit stop by a few laps, maybe you'd been able to do it?
Yeah, potentially. That very last pit stop, I got stuck in traffic for about 4 or 5 laps. I reckon I lost a couple of seconds there. And that would have got me into the draft with about 5 to go. I should have pitted as soon as I caught those cars, but I thought I might clear them, thought I might get a bit of sportsmanship and they would be a bit civil and let me go. But hey, they've got every right to battle and fight. Just yeah, I should have pitted earlier.
Well, regardless.
Yeah, in the car, I was sort of commenting live, Rob, that the car almost looked to me, you can tell me I'm wrong, but it almost looked to me that the car was really set up for clear air as opposed to running in traffic. We saw some other cars that maybe were a little bit more receptive in the dirty air to yours, but your car was fantastic in clear air. Did you set the jackers and the roll bars up for it to work like that, or was that just maybe how it looked?
Probably a bit more how it looked, especially that point where I got into traffic. I was with cars with fresher tyres than me, and that's not a lot difference, but it's enough to make it really difficult. I'm probably not as good in clean air, and dirty air, should I say, as someone like Anna. I know that from the 2 majors races I did with her earlier, about 3 weeks ago, that she was just way better in traffic than me. So maybe it's more the organic spacer that's the problem with the traffic.
Yeah, okay. Well, nonetheless, you know, we applaud the performance, backing the strategy, and you know, Reese picked up on it early. You know, the back-to-backing, the shorter fills, the shorter fills, the earlier stops, and then the hard running. It was pretty obvious where you were going with that, and it was kind of a tale of 2 tapes there between yourself and Anna at the end. But you know, a lot of work to do at the back end. You know, we called it around about a 10-second margin. And effectively, what was it, Reese? The better part of 9 or so cars to try and work through as well. And look, did a fantastic job with it, which is no easy feat at the back end when, you know, there's plenty of enthusiasm and optimism going towards. Maybe not as much as the start of that one, I might add, Rob. That one was, yeah, we couldn't have scripted that many safety cars. But however, you know, once again, another fantastic performance sees you up in the winner's circle in P2, which is, yeah, I mean, you know, there'd be a lot of guys that could dream of a performance like that, and you executed nicely today. So well done on that one, and I'm sure you've got a fair few sponsors and maybe supporters to shout out, mate. So go right ahead.
So first off will be the KSR boys, of course, the great bunch of boys to race with, practice and. Well, not so much with this work on setups, but they're just a great bunch of boys to race with. Our sponsors, SimSpeed, best place in New Zealand to get your, not SimSpeed, Speed Nation, sorry. Speed Nation, the best place to get your sim racing gear in New Zealand. Inspire.net, they've been a long time supporter of KSR, over 20 plus years they've been involved with us. And Paul McKenzie Tiling as well as our 3rd major sponsor. So, and then of course the family, who long-suffering family, have had to put up with me the last 6 or 7 weeks. I've cracked over 3,000 laps at Indy since probably the middle of April. So I think it's high time I've spent a bit of time with them the next couple of weekends.
I'm sure they're super proud of you, Rob, mate. Yeah, fantastic performance and opportunity to relive that one, I'm sure, with the family over a broadcast or two. So well done from the team up here at Matchfit Entertainment. You had us fully entertained, and look, there's not much more we can ask for from that, mate. Well done on the P2 tonight.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for the coverage.
Cheers. There you go. All right, so who else have we got down there? Reece, you're probably a little bit more familiar with the names. We did have, I think Bryce Harding was in earlier from P3, but I don't see him down there at the moment. So we've got Ben down there and Rydog. So I'm not sure who they are, but I don't know. We could just reach for one and have a chat if you like, guys.
Yeah, I reckon we'll bring Ben in. Am I correct in presuming this is Ben Wood?
It is.
Good evening, Ben Wood, and welcome to the Matchfit Hotbox. Obviously, you're down there in the waiting room, and mate, if you're down there, we're always welcome for a chat. So, congratulations on your accolades tonight, and just give us a bit of insight to maybe the start, the mid, and the end of that race, and what that looked like for you.
Yeah, well, look, I'm only I'm from over the ditch. I'm in Newcastle, Australia, and I'm only 6 months into sim racing. So I raced the Indycar race week for iRacing, and then this this come up in my Instagram feed, and I wanted to give it a go. So I want to first of all big shout out to the NZ SIMRACING collective. Thoroughly enjoyed the week of qualifying. Started off reasonably well, had full intention of staying towards the back out of trouble, and just simply finishing the 200 laps was going to be an achievement for me. Got into a little bit of trouble, I think around 50 odd. And then you then got out, I guess, out of sequence with pit stops and, really just look for some open road and trying to drive it like I stole it, to be honest. Once I got 6 laps down, that was the intention, and thankfully stayed out of trouble. And there was a good stint of about 120 odd laps that there was no incidents, no cautions, so we're able to, post some decent lap times, and definitely ended up a better driver than what I started.
Absolutely, and look, plus 11 spots on the start, and then up to, by my calculations, P20 outright. And you talk about, obviously setting the goals, and I'm pretty sure everyone throughout this field, some goals are higher than others, but to finish this one, I mean, I personally, as a broadcaster and a former racer, have never accomplished one of these things, never even set out for it. It's a big bloody milestone to go and do it. So you'd have to be happy with the performance, and it bodes well going forward, doesn't it, Ben, for future events?
Yeah, most definitely. So it was only my third one. I raced 2 in iRacing during the Indy week. 133rd lap, I got taken out in the first one, and then 30th lap in the second one. So for third attempt, it was the full intention was to get to that 200 lap mark, and admittedly, I think for me it was 194 or 193 or something like that. So I didn't hit the 200 because I was a few laps down, but definitely happy that I was able to stay out of trouble. And just I think important in these races is be aware of where the lead pack is, and don't fight them, pull over, let them go through, snug in behind them, and try and improve your own lap times.
Yeah, 100%. And so going forward, obviously, 6 months in the game, obviously there's a lot of people around with a fair bit more, but for those new guys coming into the sport as well, just give them a little insight, Ben, what you're operating with as far as, are you 6 months in, have you already committed to a chassis, and what sort of hardware equipment, like brakes and pedals, and what are you working with, Ben?
Yeah, good question. I sort of rolled the dice straight away and put all the chips in, so I bought a track racer sim rig before I'd even raced the sim. Started out with a PXN wheel and wheelbase, but 2 wheelbases back to back had electrical issues, so took those back to the company in Sydney who I bought them off, and sort of upgraded to a Moser GT and an R12, I think it is, and that's miles different in terms of sensitivity and feel. I guess the original intention for the rig was to build it on a budget. Running triple 27 Asus monitors, a Radeon 5 7200 with a 97 XT graphics card, so that runs the 2727 curve monitors pretty well.
Yep.
And then Moser shifter and brake system too. Actual pedals, like I got to put a shout out to Simjack. So I did some research on YouTube, and you've got these Simjack, I think they're aluminium pedals, pretty cheap off AliExpress, had good reviews on YouTube. And to be deadly honest, I've flogged them, and they've done nothing but been reliable. I'm sure on the sensitivity side for pro drivers, probably not the best, but it's what I've learnt on and what I know. So maybe we upgrade to some better pedals later on. But definitely worth the investment if you really are keen on racing. And I think my biggest learning in the first 6 months, to be honest, is don't jump into a race on a track that you haven't already done 50 to 100 laps on, because you're not going to succeed.
Yeah, and it's a good insight for people listening that are thinking about getting into the sport. Obviously, it's a sport that's been around for some time, but it's still a very fast-growing sport, and there's a lot of options out there for you guys as far as hardware equipment to jump in on, from really entry level to really high level, and it's great to hear that somebody committed pretty early. A lot of us out there, Ben, have gone down the route through evolution of where the sport's been and stuff available over the last 20 years. That we're probably all on our third chassis and about our seventh set of wheels and pedals, and maybe spent too much money in the process. So great to hear that you've sort of gone in it pretty committed, and look, I think the experience out there tonight for yourself on some good gear and plus the mindset that you've taken to this one has actually put you in a good position for this one, to, like you said, achieve. You finished the race, made some definite good gains, 11 spots, and had a whole lot of fun during it, because let's be fair, we all do this for fun. So well done.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I'm 50, so I'm a late start. I'm reliving my childhood racing dream, I guess.
Never too late, mate. Never too late. Hey, well, look,
Awesome.
mate, congratulations on the accolades tonight. You've certainly done yourself proud, and thanks for stopping in for the chat too, Ben. We do appreciate it.
No, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Awesome, mate. So there you go. It's Ben Wood, and he has had a very, very good, fun day and evening as well, guys. So still got one more down in there. Have we got time for one more, Davo, Reese?
If you like. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so we'll bring up Rydog up here, and we're not sure who Rydog is, but we'll get who have we got in the comms?
No, Riley Chapman. I didn't participate in the race, but I did miss qualifying, which sucks. But
did you tune in, Riley? Did you tune in?
I did tune in. I did watch, like, I don't know, like the last 30-40 laps or so.
And what was your thoughts, mate? Spectacular scenes out there. Were you happy with what you saw?
Yeah, very, very happy with what I saw. Very great racing. I was just talking to some of the others. Good to see the different strategies play out, and good job to Anna. Well deserved on the win by them. And it sucks that Ewan and Evan, or whoever, got caught in that collision down at turn one of the laps. It sucks that happens, but that's just oval racing, to be honest. But no, it sucks that I couldn't run this year. I totally love to hopefully have my life get in the way of things, but love to do it next year.
Always
love
next
to
time.
get more.
That's right.
Yeah, always next time.
That's right.
I'd love to do more events, whether it be this or other iRacing special events. Yeah, it'd be lovely to join. It's good it's good when a small community like this just come together and have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, I'm sure laps in, give it another crack. If you don't succeed first time, you have another go, Riley, and then just keep at it. And I'm sure you will end up being there in the not too distant future. Anyway, we will let you go there, mate. We do appreciate the quick chat that you had with us, and we'll try and wrap this show up. So appreciate it, Ron. Thank you.
All good, guys.
Cheers.
See ya.
So there you go, guys. I think we will wrap it there. We are no longer on Sky 83. The main, the main show's still going. Well, part of it anyway. And look, a little reflection, Reese, Davo. What a fantastic day of sim racing. It come good in the end. It was a little bit of a bumpy road, a few turbulence at the start. How have we got there in the end, guys?
Yeah, for sure. I'm very happy with how the second half of the race went. And it's always brilliant to see two different strategies playing out in real time. Anna going with the safe strategy and working out for her in the end. Robert Northway chasing with the more aggressive tilt. It had everything that I want out of a 500-mile race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So very happy with how it went down.
Awesome. Yep, absolutely. And Davo, I think parting note from yourself, mate. Obviously you got to pay some bills shortly, so I'll catch you before you do that. You're happy with everything today? I think the team of three. I got to say, I'm just going to call it right now. I really enjoyed the call with you in the booth, Reese, and obviously always Davo. He's my boss, so I have to say he's great. He is great.
It's good. It's good. New territory, obviously, for J-Man and myself. First Indy call in our careers, and also first having Reese in the comments box to join us, which was awesome. Thanks, Reese, for helping us out and
no worries at all.
Bringing obviously a wealth of knowledge with you. Really helped out us being oval track newbies and all. But that's. Well, we're learning, as did, I would say, quite a few of the drivers out there today. So some learning curves there. And a couple of guys that didn't even make it, having some lessons as well. But, it's been an awesome day to spend with watching these guys out on track. And we've got to thank all of our viewers for joining us here today for the 2026 Simdy 500. We going out live to Sky 83 Face TV, Matchfit Entertainment, and New Zealand SIMRACING TV consecutively. We're going to thank the sponsors for bringing all this to us. We're going to thank GammaFlare, MRP, KSR, Apex Labs, Race M, New Zealand SIMRACING TV, New Zealand SIMRACING Collective, and New Zealand Esports. So we're going to thank all of those people, and all of course, the drivers that attended and put the show on for us at the end of the day. So awesome stuff. Thanks, Jamie and Reese. We're going to wrap it up. Yeah, we're going to wrap it up, and hopefully we will all be in the comms booth again sometime soon, calling some more awesomeness just like we witnessed today. Thank you, viewers, again for joining in, and we will see you all next time. Bye for now.